Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of A Taboo Life, where everyone has a story to tell. I'm your host, Drew Franks, and I want to thank you guys again for listening. A Taboo Life is the idea that everyone has a story to tell, and maybe we should sit down and listen to these stories. From that quiet neighbor across the street who you barely say hi to that nice older woman at the checkout line with a Grateful Dead tattoo on her wrist, to that cute coworker at work that you've been meaning to ask out but still don't have the balls to do it, and to that creepy guy at the gym who is checking you out right now as you're working out. All these people got stories to tell, and maybe we should sit down and listen to these stories. Be careful with that creepy guy though. Should probably have a friend with you. Come check out the website, ataboolife.com, where I have other interviews. I have a blog, which I actually been getting compliments about, so I'm pretty happy about that. A couple poems on there because I am sappy, short stories, and a couple books on there you get for free. Um, the website again is ataboolife.com, so go check it out after the show. Got some good news and some bad news. Good news is that I am slowly growing with the website and the podcast, so I am excited about that. Slowly, but there is progress, so I'm really excited. What the bad news is, with growth comes trolls. I had to learn the hard way how people can be nasty on the internet. I did get a couple good thumbs up and a couple good positive comments from the interviews and the articles, but the trolls attacked me on my voice. One person called my voice atrocious. The other one person ordered me to enunciate. Then the people who wrote underneath that did not even bother listening to the episodes. They just kept writing negative stuff, and it's like even admitted to not listening to the episodes because of what the trolls wrote. So my comment on that is that listen, I'm not trying to sing you a song. No, I'm not. I don't have the best voice in the world. I actually do suffer from a speech impediment, which really the comments did hit home for me. It did hurt a lot. So I wrote an article about it on the website. I do my best to actually make sure I talk clearly, but I have suffered from a speech impediment my whole life, and it's hard. It really is hard. One way I try to explain it is not imagine, next time you talk to someone, um, try doing these three things at once. Be in the moment of conversation, so you're actually listening to the person, enjoying the conversation, formulating a thought, so that way you can continue the conversation or digest what a person is telling you. On top of that, try concentrating on how you're speaking at the same time. If you do all three things at once, you could find the whole conversation unenjoyable and it becomes stressful and jarring. So that's how I kind of live my life. It is very stressful when I speak, and it does hurt a lot getting those comments. Just being sincere about that. But I do try my best to try to talk clearly and try not to stutter or mumble like I just did right now. Um, Besides that, this one troll, which I actually laughed about because I thought like, what kind of beta male shit did he just write? This one guy wrote that he was offended by my intro because I mentioned the fact that little intro when I say um, the cute girl at work that you still don't have you still haven't asked out because maybe you don't have the balls to do it. He got offended by that and said that he didn't listen to podcasts because I like the sound of my own voice. Obviously, I don't like the sound of my own voice. If I just did like a little minute of talking about why I don't like the sound of my own voice, and if you're a man if you get offended by that, I have no idea what to say to you. Maybe that you should probably never ask out a woman again. But I'm going to stop myself and leave it as that. But today's guest, Christopher, is an old cop buddy of mine. We worked together. We worked in the same precinct. He is no longer a cop. And we both smoked a lot of weed during the podcast because there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you don't drive or operate a gun or basically anything that you don't do with alcohol, don't do with weed. But we both do it, and we had a good time on this podcast, this episode, smoking together and talking about the good times and the bad times of our former lives as cops. And this podcast is going to get graphic because we talk about some of the gruesome sides of being a cop and the stressful parts of being a cop. But I ask you guys to keep an open mind to this because being a cop is not what TV says it is or what the news says it is. Like, it is a completely different life, and it's a hard life. But everyone who does it, not everyone who does it is good. There is corrupt cops. Sorry about that. There is corrupt cops, but most cops are good people. There really are good people who have come from different backgrounds, different races, different religious creeds, but they all believe in protecting you, the listener. They believe in so much that they are willing to risk their lives to protect you. So I ask you to keep an open mind, and I hope you enjoy this episode. There is actually a lot of good funny stories in it too. So here we go. But I'm going to stop myself and leave it as that. But today's guest, Christopher, is an old cop buddy of mine. We worked together. We worked in the same precinct. He is no longer a cop. And we both smoked a lot of weed during the podcast because there's nothing wrong with it. As long as you don't drive or operate a gun or basically anything that you don't do with alcohol, don't do with weed. But we both do it, and we had a good time on this podcast, this episode, smoking together and talking about the good times and the bad times of our former lives as cops. And this podcast is going to get graphic because we talk about some of the gruesome sides of being a cop and the stressful parts of being a cop. But I ask you guys to keep an open mind to this because being a cop is not what TV says it is or what the news says it is. Like, it is a completely different life, and it's a hard life. But everyone who does it, not everyone who does it is good. There is corrupt cops. Sorry about that. There is corrupt cops, but most cops are good people. There really are good people who have come from different backgrounds, different races, different religious creeds, but they all believe in protecting you, the listener. They believe in so much that they are willing to risk their lives to protect you. So I ask you to keep an open mind, and I hope you enjoy this episode. There is actually a lot of good funny stories in it too. So here we go. All right, we're live.
Hey,
Yeah, we're live.
we're live. There it is.
We're here with Christopher.
Hey,
AKA his alias.
That's an alias. I'm probably gonna get this mixed up at some point before this hour and a half, 2 hours is over.
Nah, nobody's gonna find you. I'm just gonna leave you with the name Christopher.
No. Well, I'm gonna forget my name. I mean, you work with me, you know.
Well, this is called a Drunken Stone edition of the podcast, where I do, because once in a while I'll do the serious episodes, and other times I just want to do something fun. So I like to get a little blasted, little bait with a couple of friends.
That's definitely already there myself.
All right. So Chris, what have you been up to for the past couple of years?
Well, recently got out of police work finally.
Both of us used to be police officers together.
Yep. This makes it kind of awkward, but more fun anyway. I got lucky. I invested. Somebody came to me with an investment opportunity to start up a commercial roof repair business. It was pretty much turnkey. We put the money into it, and signed all the documents, and we let that grow. I was still working for probably about a year and a half while I was getting everything together with this, getting it rolling. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've been traveling a little bit, made a couple of business trips, signed some contracts.
Ooh.
Yeah. I don't know. You should see me in a suit. It's wild.
It's weird now because I see you with the
the
nose ring and the blue ring.
Yeah. I had the nose ring the last 3 years of being a police officer. I just tuck it up.
Really? Does it fall out when you're running?
No. I'll tell you one. When I first got it done, there was the call was right over here. There was an active shooter, and so it was me and Redfield. And Agnew, Star Corporal Agnew had become our super. Yeah. So we're running. It ended up being nothing. But it's funny you'd mentioned the only time one had fallen down. The active shooter, we're running. Everything's serious. And I thought it was funny. It was a Sailor Moon hoop. Yeah. And so I'm running and I show up and Agnew's like, "What the fuck is that on your face?" Agnew. And I'm looking and I'm sweating, crazy, pissed off, body cam. And then Sailor Moon's hanging out my finger. Yeah, that would have been pretty awkward if that was an actual active shooter and I had to engage with a Sailor Moon hanging out my nose.
I think it makes it look more badass.
It's more of a confusion. Like, is that stupid motherfucker have a Sailor Moon?
Like, you walk out with piercings and a mohawk. Like, man, this shit's going down.
See, that's what we should have done. Should have transferred to that. We can look scary again. And nobody wants to break the law.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. When did you get out of the police? Was it a year ago?
Not quite a year. February.
End of February.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been an insanely nice transition.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, you did it. You know. Oh.
Well, at first when I left, it was like this kind of like the confusion, like, okay, what I'm going to do with my life, which I'm still trying to figure out. No, but it was nice just not stressing out anymore.
Yep. Dude, it's crazy. I mean, it took me probably 2 weeks before I could walk out the door without a gun, and I felt crazy. Like I felt like weird. I was stupid for leaving, and the more I felt like that, the more I realized it was time to get out of that career, because you can't plan your life around being ready to kill somebody at all times. I mean, that's just it fucked with my head a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. When I stopped, because when I left the house, I had my little Glock 30. And basically, it's a baby cannon.
Yeah. You had the 45 version.
Yeah, the 45.
Yeah, because I had the 21. You had the 30.
Yeah, but I remember when I stopped carrying it, it felt weird. It felt really weird. Like, felt naked without it. And I was like, oh, no, it feels nice. I carry a knife, but that's it.
Yeah, same.
It's like I don't need a gun.
It was weird for me to make that mental transition to where I felt stupid, and then. Now, I feel like I was stupid before for thinking like I couldn't leave my house without a gun. It's weird to look back at that transition.
Yeah. I'll never thought I was stupid. It's just... Yeah, it was a weird transition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what have you been up to?
Well, worked for Disney for a little bit. Spent like the last year and a half trying to start a business, and that's not working.
What kind of business?
It was like I tried to do like the whole eBay thing. I was working at first, but now it's like it's too hard. Like it's too hard to make a full-time income off of it.
Yeah.
So I got a little job at Amazon.
Now, how is that? I've heard horror stories. You can't tell me, can you?
Honestly, like I have another interview tomorrow for a job. Like I'd rather, like my thing was like, okay, for the past 3.5 months, I had like a really good mindset. I'm like, all right, business It's not doing good. It's failing. I may have to start at the bottom again. I'm gonna have a good attitude about it. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna work my ass off, do a good job, and that's what I did. But like this past week, I just saw how kind of like Amazon was what's the word? Was extremely strict.
Yeah, I've been seeing it, and I was wondering how true that was.
Yeah, like this will have been the time for me to start applying for like better positions because I have the college education, I got experience and management experience, and this was going to be the week where I actually could start, putting my applications in for the the higher jobs in Amazon. Turned out this manager who, it's not my direct manager. My direct manager is pretty cool, but it was turning out this other manager wrote me up without even telling me, because he was trying to prove a point to like everyone on the floor. And when I talked to HR about it, they were useless, and I was like, you know what? This is stupid. I'm not gonna be stressing out with his job, and
yeah, especially when the career path you had left before, it doesn't make sense to go to another job that's gonna stress you out.
Yeah, it's totally that, and no, it's kind of rough. I've been kind of rough this past year, but like I feel like it's getting better now.
No, is that with your business? It's getting better.
No, but like actually get my life together. Cause I'll be honest with you, after I left the police, I was lost. Like where I was gonna go the rest of my life.
Yeah, because I remember you were in the Mustang cruising around.
Yeah.
Then trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I went across the country.
How was that?
It's fun. I would really enjoy that time. Just visiting the places I want to see. But last year I went to Burning Man, and that's even better.
I gotta admit, have you been? What was the other? I could have sworn there was another crazy festival you said you had gone to that was similar to Burning Man.
Did I? No, I think Burning Man was the only crazy festival I've ever been to.
I could just be really high and misremembering it.
You probably are.
I mean, I'm definitely really high.
We're also here with Christopher's wife.
Yep.
Lovely here. Wife. We're going to come up with an alias for her, too.
Jojo.
Jojo.
Oh, shit. No, it's crazy to be here now, doing this with you, knowing, not too many years ago, we were cruising these same streets. Trying to...
No, it's weird because, like, when I was driving up here, because this used to be my beat, beat 42.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I remember that happened at that gas station. Then when I passed by the hospital, like, I remember going there for a couple of calls. And I remember my first arrest was at that... What's that park's name down the street on
Joseph J. Tribble Park.
Yeah, is it that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it Tribble or are you talking about Mohawk Lake?
Tribble. Yeah, there we go. It's Tribble Park.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Joseph J. Tribble.
Yeah. I remember doing my first arrest there when I first got off of not being a rookie anymore. And it was a pot arrest.
Here we are.
Now here we are smoking pot.
In the very same beat.
Oh, just so you guys know, I'm not being a hypocrite, but if you go to a website, I wrote an article why I think cops should start smoking marijuana. Like, it's one of the reasons why it should be legalized and why it will actually benefit a cop.
I can tell you. I mean, going from, because I mean, the day I stopped, it wasn't even the day. It was the night. I started, and man, I mean, she's been living. She knows.
It was literally the moment you got home.
And it's the difference it's made in my life. Not even just, I mean, getting fucked up is fun. I mean, who can lie? But even if, just the effects it's had on me since, even when I'm not high now, I just feel more at ease. It's helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And I was going to bring up that very same point that you just said, that police should be able to use it.
Yeah, so be like, same rules with alcohol. It's like, all right, don't do it while you're at work. Yeah. Like, definitely don't do it at work where you have a gun on you.
I mean, it really has been like night and day since it's, because I've never smoked before, and I've never really been around it much until him, but he went from constantly looking over his shoulder and constantly just in this huge state of
hold on one sec. Let me bring the mic my mic. Or like actually get close to his mic so you can.
It's gone from him being like.
Jordan, she has to be on top of me.
Guys, I only have two mics.
Yeah, sorry,
so bear with us while Jordan's talking.
It's gone from him being wouldn't say paranoid because that just sounds like a bad word to me. Mm-hmm. But him constantly looking over his shoulder and constantly being in this tense state of, you know, going to a restaurant, having to sit with your back against the wall, making sure all the exits, seeing all the ingress points, to just, fuck it, let's go out. And it's completely different. It's almost like, not like he's a different person, mm-hmm. but he's a different person, if that makes any sense.
Well, I feel like after leaving the police force and then, not only that, but smoking weed, because I used to do that stuff when I got off, too. Sometimes I still do it. I still catch myself doing it, like sitting on the corner of a restaurant, my back to the wall. I still do that sometimes, which is not a bad idea, but no, it's like it takes a while to get out of that. Mm-hmm. And what you said, like, he's a different person. Like, I feel like you're seeing himself more at ease. It's just the same person, but he's more at ease.
Yeah, the personality's still there, but just that worry is gone. And for the first entirety of our relationship, that worry was always there. Always. But now, you know, he still sits with his back to a wall, but if he can't sit to his back to a wall, it doesn't bother him.
There
he's
we go.
He's not sitting there fidgeting and looking around and basically in a state of panic.
Yeah.
Didn't see the way. I'm kind of fucking high right now, so it's hard for me to explain
well,
this.
I feel pretty good, so I'm going to stop smoking for a little bit because I like a pretty good high.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm still coherent to do the interview. But.
Yeah. Where was I going? Like I was saying,
mm-hmm. Brain fart.
Yeah, I'm totally brain farting right now. Hold on, I got an idea. The point's coming out.
Okay, we're talking about being at ease now.
That's right. And when I'm not high, the feeling I have, what I was trying to kind of explain earlier, is I don't need to be constantly on that crazy alert, but I'm still vigilant. I still know what's happening around me. It's just my mind's more at ease, paying attention to those things. It doesn't feel like I'm ready for something to go wrong. It's more I'm just being observant of my surroundings. It's still vigilant, but I guess for a different purpose.
Yeah.
Well, it's more of a prepare for the worst and hope for the best.
It's something that, and if it's not a feeling that you had, because I mean, Frank, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's hard if you haven't felt that way. It's difficult to explain it.
Well, I think a lot of people from our former law enforcement or former military, which are both, because Christopher used to be in the Army and he was also a cop at the same time. I think if you're in that dangerous job where you have to constantly watch your back, this takes a while to turn off.
And I feel like if people in those positions had the access and are allowed to recreationally or medicinally use marijuana, that the quality of life for people working those jobs would skyrocket.
Yeah.
Because it's no secret that the quality of life for law enforcement and military is not very high.
No.
I mean, you're working constantly.
Well, it was like one thing I told, I was at this Christmas party once and there was a Marine there. And he didn't get angry when he said that. He actually understood it. Because someone brought up he used to be a cop and he brought up he was a Marine. I tell him, well, the average police officer is in more danger than someone in the military, unless that person in the military is in active duty in a war zone. Then they're in more danger. But on a daily basis, it's like the average cop is going to be more danger than someone in the military.
For me, at a point, it's been brought up because I've spoken with friends from my former unit about issues I've had as a result of law enforcement. And one thing that they brought up, especially about being a police officer dealing with that, is it's not only are you constantly in danger because it's 24/7 when you're a cop, but also the spots where everything happened, you ride by them daily. I mean, it's constant reminders.
Not only that, a lot of us live in the precincts we work.
I did.
Well, I lived in B43, but it was close to, not B43. I mean, I lived in Central Precinct, which it was next to the precinct where we worked. So it wasn't that bad, but I remember, sometimes I was paranoid.
Yeah.
Like I remember, a couple of times I slept with a shotgun, a loaded shotgun right next to the bed, and my service pistol and my backup pistol right next to the what you call the bed stand.
Yep. Did the same thing. I mean, I had my AR-15, my 12 gauge, and my Glock 21, all arms reach by the bed.
And the Ruger.
No. And that's not so much that I'm paranoid. It's because I worked this precinct, and my cop car was parked in front of this driveway constantly. I had to take home for years. So.
Yeah. Sure. I left just when you guys got take homes. Like, fuck.
I got my first take home, and then get this shit.
Yeah.
Call me up. Get a Caprice. I'm thinking they're going to be a used twin. I get in the car, 51 miles on it.
What?
They gave me a brand new, one of the V8 Pursuit Package Caprices.
Ooh.
That thing was bad.
You got a brand new car.
Yeah.
Well, talking about like sleeping with a gun, last night, because I wanted to wait till we got on, started recording. Last night, so I moved back home with my mother. Which is not a big deal. I don't care.
Yeah.
Her best friend was in town. So last night, I got a thing after I work a hard week and smoke a nice amount of weed. I get myself some of my favorite food. Yesterday was pizza and cookies. And just like watch a good movie.
Yeah.
It is like, man, it's just a heavenly experience.
Yeah.
Just getting baked and eating your favorite food.
Yes.
It's like, it's a heavenly experience. So every time you do it, it never gets old.
Chocolate milk and powdered donuts.
Well, anyway, like, I was finishing watching Westworld yesterday. I actually was watching I watched it again. I'm like, man, what the hell has happened?
I haven't seen the second season yet.
It's so good.
Are there ninjas?
deep.
Are there ninjas?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
They go to what do you call it? Shogun World.
Oh.
Well, it's just pretty
Do
cool.
they explain where this is taking place? Like, do they explain if this is Earth?
No,
or...
it's Earth. They hint that it might be China. And one of the episodes, like, you see, like, why they're hinting at China. I don't want to ruin it to you. But, like, the last episode will be next week for the season, and it's getting freaking deep. But anyway, I was sitting there, and I was rewatching the episode, and I heard some, like, loud, what do you call it? Loud voices coming, and like coming from outside. And we live in a big house with a big front yard. I'm like, I thought it was the TV at first. I'm like, is someone yelling? And I'm like, man, maybe I'm too high. Then I just heard someone knocking on the front door loudly and yelling. And the first thing I did is like I grabbed because now I have a Lever accent. I'm all in 30-30 because I wanted to go hunt. I wanted to start doing hunting, so got that gun and So I do have that close to where I could get it.
Yeah.
So that is home protection and my little hunting rifle. So I grabbed that really fast, and I sobered up pretty quick, and all the police training came back. all the tactical training came back.
It's funny that you're going with this because, man, I've wondered that. Like, if I'm fucking baked out of my mind and something happens, like, holy shit, am I going to be all right? I mean...
Well, like, I was surprised. Like, I remember, like, because... where my room's at is a little hallway to the front door, and I started reminding myself, okay, stay behind the corner where it's at, because if I go where the hallway's at, that's a fatal funnel. So stay to the corner where I can have cover, and I yelled for my mom's best friend because she's in the room right next to me, staying with us, and I'm like, Patty, call 911. So she calls 911. And I still hear the guys outside. This is maybe 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So like the house is dark except for the hallway light. So I ran straight to the windows, and I just peeked outside, and they're still standing outside. I saw them walking across the front yard, and that's only the silhouette. And
Is this the plot for the fucking Purge? Did the
know.
Purge happen at your house?
Well, I have no idea because like it had to be 10 seconds after because I yelled it pretty loud, like, "Hey, call 911." And I didn't go from the moment they knocked on the door, started yelling, and from when I yelled "call 911," it's probably a good minute went by. So like I waited a little bit, then I told Patty to go into my mom's room and stay together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the front door, and I'm still at the corner because there's another hallway entrance. So I swung open the front door and went back to the corner, so that way I have cover. and I could cut the pie. And I was cutting the pie with my freaking Marlin 30-30. I was just standing there, and I just yelled, I have a gun coming out. And I waited. I really waited. I'm like, waited to see me when I came out. And, checked the yard. And I heard the voices, like, they were yelling. They were from across the street, so I called my neighbor, let her know. The police came to check it out, so they're going to roll around the neighborhood. But then my neighbor calls me up this morning. She's like, last night she couldn't sleep, so she was sitting on the patio, and she saw a car parked across the street. Turned out it might be a little drug house that's in our neighborhood, and it might have gotten confused with our house.
Yeah.
But she said, like, she was watching the car for, like, a good half an hour, and they were just sitting there with a flashlight, and they left. So, like, oh, okay.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
That happened, something similar. I was with my grandparents when I was still working a while ago, and she made me lasagna. We'll go over there sometimes after work, and somebody started to push in the door, and I came out. They took off running, and I had my gun out, and then my grandma's yelling, and she comes out the door. She's got a 22 that's about the size of your index finger, and she's screaming and hollering, and that was wild.
Grandma got the 22.
My grandma's a badass, dude. You don't fuck with Granny.
Fuck around.
You don't fuck with Granny.
The 22. Dude, so, let's talk about some stories.
What stories? You know which one is my favorite of all time?
Go with that story, because there's another story I want to talk to you about, too.
My favorite of all time is London.
Tell it.
So there's this guy, London. I forget his last name.
It starts with J.
Jay.
Let's call him Jake London.
Yeah, something like that. He had gotten shot on the east side a week prior to this incident happening, and he was rapping at somebody, and that's why he got shot. He got into some stupid rap battle, I guess, and got shot as in process. And so he gets out of the hospital. He doesn't want to go back to the house, so he comes over to his auntie's house on Tree House over here in Beat 42, and they get into some kind of domestic. I forget why exactly we ended up over there.
It was domestic.
It was domestic, yeah. And so we had convinced him to leave, and mind you, this dude, he's got his guts stapled in. He's got 6 staples along the front of his gut.
Yeah, basically from his cervix to his belly button, he had staples.
Yeah. So he was acting crazy, and we were being uncharacteristically patient with this guy for some reason. And so we convinced him to leave. He was getting a bag.
Well, let me cut in really fast. What happened was, usually we separate the two parties to talk. So Christopher over here was talking to him by himself in the room, and then I was talking to the grandmother by herself in another room. So I was out of the room while Christopher was convincing him to leave. Yeah.
And somehow or another, we convinced him to go, and he was getting a bag, but then he stopped packing for something, and he started saying something, and then he starts rapping at us. And then we get out of our face, don't touch us, and he's steady rapping and getting in our face, and I think he like hit your shoulder or something.
No, what happened was you have nice and calm, and then I walked in the room and he freaked out. Like I was like, what the fuck?
He did,
and that's why he like what he said. He jumped on, he pushed me.
Yeah, he was rapping the whole time, trying to rap, and then we had to toss him. He had because I mean he was.
We tossed.
Yeah, he ended up going over the chair. And it wasn't that we just wanted to hurt him. He was actively resisting, actively fighting us. And so he goes over the chair, and he lands on the ground, and he tries to get back up, and there's blood, and he's busted, what was it, 2 of the staples? Yeah. And so he's still acting a fool with the staples out, but he calmed down once he saw the blood a little bit. We got him in the car. And that's where the story you would think would be the end. That's crazy.
No.
How could this be any crazier? The guy busted the staples out because he got into a rap battle with the police. Where can we go from here? So we get him in the back of the car. And Frank, for some reason, opens the car door and lets loose this vicious-ass fart and slams it. And the guy goes, he pooted on me! He pooted!
Well, what do you call it? Sergeant, what's his name?
It was Agnew, I think.
No, Agnew wasn't him that was also there. It was Sergeant, he used to be a Marine. Like, he saw his finger off. Well, let's leave his name out of this. But
I'm trying to remember, yeah. But yeah, so
anyway, like, yeah, he's like, what the fuck?
he pooed on me.
It's like, and guys, that's the only police brutality I ever did
Yep.
since I farted.
He farted on
Because
somebody.
he kept talking and
just
talking,
did.
and I was like, dude, shut the hell. Okay, you know what?
I will say, we can't put into words how annoying this guy was. I mean, we were going out of our way to be accommodating, and this dude was pushing every button on purpose. Ugh.
I don't know, man. Like, wait. Oh no, it was funny. A week later, I arrested him again.
Yeah, I got into another use of force.
Well, what was the story?
Same dude. It was the same story, except he hadn't been shot. So he was back at his auntie's house, and it was me and it was Ski, and Dane Domestic, and him and Ski had been arguing back and forth, and he was rapping at Ski, doing his thing, and Ski had let him like pat his chest, like he kind of pushed him, and Ski didn't do anything. And then he came and he tried that shit on me, and he pushed me, and acted like I was going to go back, and then shoved him back. We went over the table, and then he tries to get back up and wants to keep fighting. And he wasn't like fighting to resist arrest. This motherfucker was fighting, or he was trying to. London, he's not a very big man, so he took a single swing, and then after we went over the table, he got back up and took a swing, and I grabbed his arm and threw him over the recliner. And you just hear Ski go, "Damn, dude!"
Ski. And, like always, Ski wasn't doing anything, right?
And well, once I tossed him down, Ski held him down for me.
There we go. That's what he's good for.
Oh, damn, man. I'm so high. I sat on my Capri Sun.
Dude, that was a good idea. Drinking Capri Suns.
Well, I mean, he thought the whole thing was funny because I guess he knew I could handle London, but Ski had let him, like, touch him, and I don't play that game. You don't touch. If I'm working, you're not going to touch me. That's not how that works.
Ski's like, you let a guy punch him, it means, like, not doing any paperwork. It's like, man, I know
and you can hear it Ski's video because I didn't have my camera on because I resisted body cameras as long as I could for no reason other than just on a, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Rebellion?
Not so much rebellion, on principle.
Oh, okay.
On principle, I resisted. But on Ski's video, you hear, like, as soon as he pushes me and Ski sees I'm getting ready to tense up, you just hear...
Motherfucker.
It was all over in just a second, but it's just funny to go back and watch it. And you see Ski just...
You idiot. What do you call it? Oh, there's another story I want to talk to you about the car chase he got into.
That one.
Because, guys, there's his story about what happened, and there was a separate story with me and another guy at the same time that was going on. I mean, actually made it even more funnier.
So I've never heard the second story, so I'm excited to hear. And if Nelson's involved, that's going to be a good story, I know. So, it's towards the end of the shift, and for some reason, I'd been told to patrol a certain area for some crime. I can't remember what they wanted me to saturate the area for. But I usually wouldn't have stopped the car because she was just going under the speed limit. She was doing 15 miles an hour on Abercorn. Yeah. So I would have usually just said, maybe it's just too... But since I was saturating the area, I said, all right, I'll stop this car, see what's going on. So she doesn't stop. So we're at the McDonald's right there, Abercorn and Apache, headed out. And I light it up and put the sirens on, and she just keeps going like 10 miles an hour and pulls into the Oglethorpe Mall. And this whole time, I'm kind of calling it out as a pursuit, trying my hardest not to laugh that I'm pursuing it 10 miles an hour around the Oglethorpe Mall parking lot. And we're going. And at this point, I was sure that something, because I mean, if you've been through the training and stuff, if they're slow rolling, they're in your mind, they're getting ready. They're getting ready for something. So I'm tense. I'm like, look, they're staying in this parking lot. They're doing 10. They don't want me to break off. They're getting something ready for me in this car. When they stop, it's going to be a party out here. And that's how back then. That's how I thought. I mean, I was wild, and so I'm tense. I'm hyped up. I'm like, this is going to be wild, and so I'm chasing. And Sergeant Owens is about to tell me to break it off, but then right as she's pulling out on the Abercorn, she throws it in park, and I'm like, oh crap, here we go. And so I jump out, and I shouldn't have. I should have done the smart thing, but I let my emotions and anger and tenseness get the better of me, and I said, no, nobody's getting the drop on me. I'm running. So I got out, and I'm in the paddy wagon. That's a whole other part of that story that if you saw the paddy wagon, you would know why I'm.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm pursuing in the wagon.
You pursuing
and you hear as I'm hitting the speed bumps, it's like a wicket, because I mean that thing's falling apart this whole time. So I'm trying to feel like a badass riding around in a falling apart minivan, and so she stops and I'm jump out and I'm like, here we go, and I'm running. I sling the door open, guns out the car, and there is this chick. She can't be older than 18 years old, and she's crying in the front seat. And she's going, I tried to get out of your way. I was trying to get out of your way. I'm sorry. And I'm like, holy shit. Oh, holy shit. And it took me I had to step back from the car and let her freak out for a minute because I had to change gears really quick because I was like,
cut her face.
I was like, because I yanked that door open with the intent that something was waiting, and I was vicious. I was in my mind it was fight, and I was about to go on. Nothing was getting in the way. And so when I saw her, I had to step back and okay, I need to change. I slept, and then start laughing, and then okay, I need to get this back down. And so I just moved here from Alaska, and my parents, they barely taught me how to drive. They said, get out the way if the police come. I'm so sorry. I felt so bad that I came out I was like a fucking animal, man. I was mad, and I was like, nobody's getting a drop on this motherfucker. Here I come. And then, I felt so bad. Then I escorted her to her dorm and made sure. So you should park, and you should maybe consult some of your friends. If your parents didn't teach you much about driving, you need to learn from somebody, because that's terrible. If we were in South Carolina, man, they would have shot her fucking tires out. That's what they do. They do. They don't play the chase.
They go 10 miles an hour. Pop, pop, pop.
They do. That's the policy, dude. So, I mean, I felt bad for her, but she's lucky it happened in Savannah, I guess.
She got lucky. Well, when that shit was going down, so me and Nelson went to this call. Basically, the daughter called about her mother, saying that the mother is an older woman. She calls her son in California on clockwork every day at 2:00. There's never been a interruption of that. So we get there. The house was dark, and this is at night. And we look around the house. Okay, we're knocking. There's nothing. We don't see any lights on. So the daughter doesn't have a spare key, and we looked around the house like the normal places to find a spare key. There was no spare key, and I asked her if we could kick down the door because I really want to kick down the door. She's like, no.
If you don't know here, Frank is fond of kicking doors.
I am. And I'll tell you a story later about something that happened before St. Patrick's Day. Well,
I've got a funny door story too.
But yeah, so she doesn't want us to kick down the door, so me and Nelson try and find a way to pry the door open. We used our knives that wasn't working. I took a tire iron from the back of the car and was able to pry the door open where it caused minimum damage. And then break the lock. It's just we're going to have to clean up the door frame. So we get in the house, and this is, you hear over the radio, Chris is like, see, Metro, I'm pulling over someone, she's not stopping, and he's like serious at first. So we're walking through the house, and it's dark, and the woman's probably 10 feet behind me, while Nelson's right in front of me, and Nelson goes to the bathroom, and he's like, oh crap, and I walk in there, and she's dead on the floor, and this is when I heard you yell, Metro ain't stopping, we're going 10 miles an hour. I'm at chase 10 miles an hour. You're laughing. Then I start fucking laughing as loud as I can as soon as we see the dead body. And Nelson's laughing, but the woman, we're in the hallway. The woman can see me laughing out loud. Nelson's trying to be quiet. He's like, Frank, stop laughing. He said, Frank, stop laughing. So he could only see me laughing. Ma'am, go outside. I'm trying to be serious. As soon as he walked outside, I couldn't stop laughing. And we're here with a dead body. What the fuck?
For extra emphasis, Nelson was a drill instructor.
Yeah, he's on the belt.
So just imagine that drill instructor mentality. Stop laughing.
He's like, stop laughing.
He's got the knife hand.
Yeah, but he's laughing too. He's trying to hold it back, but he started laughing. Well, it's
infectious, and it feels so terrible, but it's...
Yeah, it's you just saw something horrible and you hear something funny at the same time.
Yeah.
She ain't stopping. She's not stopping.
Your laughing is some of the best though. The cocker.
The cocker.
The cocker. I mean,
tell everyone that story.
So it was me, Peplo, and Frank here. And you guys probably don't know anything about Peplo, but I'm going to say he was the most mature one in this situation, and that is something
he was.
bad. That's bad when
Yeah,
Michael
bad
Peplo, when he's the mature one trying to get.
Hard to believe.
Yeah. So this lady, it was a nursing home that she had called. What did she call? She thought something was missing or something. Was it your stereotypical maid stealing?
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, somebody.
It was your.
something.
So it was nothing, but all throughout her house, there are pictures of Cocker Spaniels, and then me and Frank are looking like this is weird. And then there's one pillow that says, "What is it? A house is not a home without a cocker." And at that point, we fucked up. We burst out laughing, and this lady was not understanding at all. And then so Frank goes to tell her, we're laughing because cocker, and it's a cocker spaniel. And then she goes, "My cocker just died." We couldn't. It was terrible. It got worse. We couldn't stop laughing. And when she said, "My cocker just died," it exploded. It was terrible. We couldn't stop. Petflow had to push us out.
Cocker just died.
The cocker just died.
Yeah, I'm trying to explain to her why I'm laughing. Why we're laughing at immature joke.
Right.
Like, well, this is a sex joke. This is be honest with you.
Well, she was not understanding at all.
Well,
No.
I remember going to this one nursing home by myself,
That's terrible.
and
That statement alone is bad.
you know what? Like, I called there, and basically this woman, she wanted to have another alcoholic drink. Hold on 1 sec. So she wanted to have another alcoholic drink, and she's the only one in this nursing home that's allowed to drink, because they said the nurses told me, like, as soon as I walked in, it's like, listen, we're busy tonight, we're making our rounds. She gave her she's the only one that's allowed to drink, and we gave her alcohol already, and she wants more, and this is why she called you. I'm like, all right. So I walked in the room, started talking to her, and so she's so she's talking, and she's like upset, like, they're trying to take my money, they don't want to respect me. Like, ma'am, they're busy, you can't do any, like, they're helping out other patients here.
Yeah.
So she's upset, and like, she told me, like, listen, I'm 90 years old, and I had thought, like, okay, I know how exactly, she's a woman, I know exactly how to calm her down.
Yeah.
Like, man, 90 years old, you don't look a day over 60.
Does it work?
She looked at me, and said, "Get the fuck out."
Oh,
I like,
she saw right through the ruse.
She said, "Yes." What I said was, "Yes, ma'am." I walked out.
You had to roll the dice. You never know. I mean,
I thought it was going to work.
Yeah. It's a 50-50 chance.
Man, no, I miss. There's parts of me missing, like I miss it as a cop. There's parts of it, but I was talking to another friend. He used to work in precinct 2. Now he got out. Works for the federal government as an auditor.
Is he a Mexican dude?
No, he's not Mexican.
I'm not racist. I just know a Mexican
No,
guy that did that.
well, that's how we identify each other. Like, well, is he brown? Is he white? That white dude, the black dude.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, we were talking about. It's like, listen, especially how the times are right now. I think we got a good time.
Yeah.
We don't have to deal with the stress, and like, it's too stressful now to be a cop.
Yeah. I mean, and stuff, and I hate to say it, and it was hard to admit, and I still feel weird admitting it, but there was just some of the stuff hit me too hard, and regardless, it was time for me to get out. Even if I didn't have a business, it was time for me to go.
Well, what stuff hit you hard?
There was a few. I mean, and it's stuff that you've similar had. The one that pops in my head, and it's weird, man, because this one didn't bother me at the time, and maybe about a year and a half after, it just started that for some reason I couldn't go a night without thinking about this incident. But it was me, another officer, and a trainee were walking around out in Paradise Park, because there had been some internet.
Yeah, Paradise Park.
Oh yeah. That used to be my old stomping grounds. Ugh. Yeah. So we're walking around, And then a call comes out for a check subject, and it was like 2 blocks from where we were. So we turn around and start walking, and right as the calls come in, there's like 4 gunshots, and they're like right there. So we take off, and turn the corner, and they're, you know where the power transformers are right there in Paradise.
Yeah.
Right there in Paradise, behind the comic book store, and all those houses. That little area, there was a kid. He ended up being he was 14 years old, and he caught it right in just above his right eye, and so it blew the top of the skull, and so he was down, and he was dying. I mean, there's nothing like that, but so I mean, he was reaching out, as we're running, and at the time, I mean, I guess it's good that the instinct did kick in to make sure the area was secure before trying, because I mean, in my head, he wasn't making it.
Yeah.
So as soon as I saw that, I said, no, I can't help. I need to make sure that nobody else is getting shot. I mean, we heard the gunshots, and we didn't hear a car. We didn't hear door slamming. So I mean, in my mind, it's right there. He's somewhere. I didn't hear anybody running. So he's got to be in this area. So, I mean, the kid's reaching out. I mean, he's dying. He can't help. And so I had to run away and try to find the guy because it was a bigger threat.
Yeah.
I mean, because if he was there and 4 cops come running around the corner and we're standing in the middle of the street, I mean, that's we're sitting ducks there. And, maybe there was a second person involved that he could be going to shoot, or he could be kicking in somebody's door. So, I mean, the priority became
looking for the gunman.
And at the time, I didn't think about it at all. That kid was just reaching out so he didn't die alone.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And it sucked.
Did you end up finding him, or?
Nope.
Well, the thing is, man, you can't.
Yeah, I know. And rationally, I know.
You didn't realize at the time. And the thing is, your priority was at the time like, okay, go put down the gunman before you hurt someone else.
Yep. And that's just something. I mean, it came out of nowhere. I didn't think about it. I mean, it was at the time. It was a cool story to tell. That me and my bros were out looking, and we stumbled into a shooting. I mean, it still at the time it registered that it was a kid that died, but it was still an adrenaline story. And then out of nowhere, man, it was like I woke up one morning and that story I hadn't thought about for so long had come back and just saw it in a different light. And that hit hard. And that was like the start that it was time to leave.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 2 years. And then after that, I mean, powered through it. It was whatever. And there was another weird one because my dad had passed away. I don't know if you were here for that.
Yeah, I was here for
that.
that. Yeah.
And so my family and it's going to sound hypocritical as hell because I'm high as hell, person like a sailor. We're all Mormons, my whole family, myself included.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not the greatest role model, but
he wasn't even wearing his magic underwear.
Yep, that's where this story is going. Funnily enough, and I don't want you to feel bad because it's funny to laugh at that comment.
Yeah.
But because the story's so my dad had passed away, and I had been assigned Beat 45, so I was way out there in the county. Got a call for a suicide, and this was maybe 2 months after my dad died.
Yeah.
Call for suicide, and dude had found out he had cancer. He was old and had shot himself in the head, but turned out the guy was Mormon and he was wearing his magic underwear, his garments in bed, and knowing that my dad had just passed away, he was right. That one, it was weird because my dad died of a heart attack. He didn't shoot himself.
Yeah.
He didn't, but just I guess making the connection that it was another dead member of the church, and it instantly identified with the garments. And that kind of messed with me, but then this is really weird. And I had to literally, I stopped and I had to tell the supervisors, and then it was the whole thing. I was alone with the body, And in my head, it sat up and looked at me.
Really?
Yep.
Fuck.
Yep.
Was was it the suicide or was this a different dead body?
No, that's just a suicide.
The suicide one.
It just in my head, I'd made the connection that, it was like my dad with his garments. My dad, he didn't commit suicide, but just the connection of the older,
You got a reminder, basically.
And I guess it just set my mind into overdrive and set up, and I had to, it was weird, and it was I'm surprised. I really expected, I know you had mixed feelings about him, but Kane was my dude. Like, that was my motherfucker right there.
Well, I'll let you finish that.
But, and he was working, that was back in I tell him everything. And in my head, as it happens, I'm like, crap, I have to call Kane. Because I got to go. I can't stay on the street like this. I don't know what's going on. This isn't right. I can't be on the street with a gun seeing that. Man, so I called Kane. In my head, I'm thinking he's going to laugh at me. Like, he's fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And no, he's like, all right, dude, stay where you are. I'll be right there. And we had to go do the psych eval and everything.
What is like? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah,
part?
yeah, that's fine.
What they say?
We went in. I mean, I don't know if you've had it. I don't know if you ever had.
Yeah, I've done it before.
Yeah. So when mine was on duty, and so they took me to Memorial. They in-processed me to Memorial, and they didn't.
Oh no, I didn't go through that part. I went through just the normal.
Yeah. Well,
day after, go to see it there.
I had to do that as well before, but so we go in, and then I explain everything, and the nurses there are like, all right, good news. I mean, you're not crazy. You're not losing your mind.
Yeah.
You're not violent. You're not a threat to anybody.
Not going schizophrenic.
Yeah,
Right?
it sounds like you've had a mental reaction to something, and that's fine. It happens. And they go home, make an appointment for go see a psychiatrist or whatever. And so we had to go in there for 4 or 5 sessions, I think, before I came back to work.
Mm-hmm.
Because he needed to clear me. So
Yeah.
it wasn't more than a week. I had gone in there a couple times, and he put me on. Jordan would know, and she just left. I think it was a pretty high dose of Ativan for a while.
What was Ativan again?
Some kind of something. It's for anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder.
All right.
Then he told me to take it for a while, and if I needed more, I might come back, or if I was fine, to stop. And so I never went back and got a refill.
Oh, that's good.
I just didn't. I didn't really like medication much.
I mean, if it helps, it helps. There's nothing wrong with doing it, like, because I don't want to say that's a normal thing, but like, that's a common thing. And
Yeah.
it's not unhealthy.
Yeah.
Like
See, I don't know what it was though. I didn't like it. I don't know what. So I mean.
Yeah, of course you don't. Nobody's gonna like that.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, that helped. But in retrospect, having used marijuana now,
Yeah.
infinitely more helpful.
Yeah, that's why I found out with marijuana. Like when I turned out, really, I had really bad anxiety, and I started taking Lexapro 2 years ago around this time when it first happened, which helped me out a lot. Turned out I was still dealing with what happened with the police, and this is like a year afterwards. I was what do you call it? I was working for Disney, and I wasn't supposed to mention.
Damn it!
Whatever. They're assholes. Not all of them assholes. I should take that back, but a couple of good assholes on there. But anyway, I was going on a Europe trip because like I still confused by what happened with me as a cop. Then Disney was stressful working for them, and then a couple months before that, there was a woman who I was deeply in love with, and we were talking about getting married. I actually bought the ring, and then. So she turned out to be like really very volatile, nasty woman. So I was still upset about the breakup, and so I had all this pent out sadness and anxiety in me. And just like the day before I was going to Europe, because I was taking a Europe trip like by myself, just to.
It looked like that was so much fun.
It was fun. It was amazing. I'd tell everyone like, do this once in your life.
It looked super fun.
Well, you need to travel. I think everyone once in their life needs to travel by themselves to specifically a different country. Traveling across the United States is just as good because we have so much, so much to offer.
Yeah.
Like we have deserts, we have rainforests, we have islands, wetlands, swamps. We have so much. The cultures too. We have every state has a different culture. But anyway, so this is when I decided, like, you know what? and also too, I wanted to try to get FBI, and I was so excited. And then when I got the rejection notice, I actually felt pretty good about it. Like I wasn't upset or anything. It's like, man, I actually feel really relieved. And that's when I decided, like, I actually want to like live a life I want to live now. Because for years I didn't smoke. Like even in college when I was in my fraternity, I never smoked weed. I never got a tattoo. I tried to keep my nose clean, and feel like I had to be a certain person. And now it's like I feel free to be myself. I'm gonna get 3 tattoos, and because I always wanted them.
And that's how it's the same way. I mean, I work for myself now, so the same way to be free. It's
Just be yourself and be okay. And it's hard to do that when you're a cop or trying to go into a federal agency or even the military. But the day before, sorry guys, it took us a long time to get to this point.
holy crap!
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is stoner talk.
Yeah.
But anyway, the first time I actually smoked weed was the day before. I went to Europe. I was outside on the patio with my sister, and my best friend was there, and he got the weed from he didn't want to tell me who it was, but like I know who it was. And the first couple of times I tried to smoke it, I smoked out of a pipe. I was taking big gulps, and it wasn't hitting me. It was just burning the back of my throat. And my friend's like, "No, here." He starts. He lights up for me. He's like, "Okay, small breaths." I did that.
You got to work up.
And I swear, like a minute later, I was just sitting there. I was like looking around. It was like a pretty day. It was bright outside. I was seeing the trees. I'm like, man, life is so beautiful. I noticed how calm and at peace I felt.
Yep.
I haven't felt like that in years. Like, this is amazing. I told my best friend, and he's standing in front of me. I'm like, man, I never felt at so much peace in my life.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is how I feel every day. Then I spent the whole day, like, getting the munchies. I ate a whole bunch of Mexican food, a whole pie by myself.
I mean, it's nice. It's nice, dude, especially to feel that relief after. Because you've carried a lot too. I mean, you carry a lot of tension and a lot of stress.
Yeah, there's a.
And I mean, to finally feel that drip away,
it was like a
wild.
sweet release. It was. I'm honestly, when you know that saying, like the weight off your shoulders.
Yep.
That's how I physically felt like that. I felt like if you were wearing a backpack full of something like how much, like maybe 20 or 40 pounds worth of weight, and just walk around with that like every day, then just suddenly somebody just takes it off of you. Yeah. It's just an amazing feeling.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah. And good thing too, it's like then when I started smoking more, it's like I actually started thinking about it. You actually become more introspective about things. Yep. You see things at a different angle.
And you feel the effects even after the marijuana.
Yeah, that's true too. I remember feeling, maybe I smoked it twice that day. I remember 2 or 3 days later, I felt pretty amazing.
Yeah, even when you're not high, you feel better.
Yeah, I was. Well, yeah, that Europe trip was amazing.
Yeah, it looked super fun.
One thing I loved about it was oh my god, the food. I love food. Let's walk around to different countries like Spain. Man, I want some tapas. You know, what's fucking tapas?
Did you run into any foreign police out there on your trip?
I saw them. Never
had any run-ins?
No run-ins. But when I was in Italy, everyone kept looking at me and giving me a stink eye. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then when I sat down at a restaurant in Rome, the waiter came up to me. He's like, so, where are you? I'm like, I'm American. Like, oh, good. You're not. You're not. I'm like, what? Everyone thought I was a terrorist.
He was waiting for you to issue a jihad.
Yeah. He's like, okay, good thing I asked before I took your order.
Yeah, shit.
Fuck. Pay your food.
So let me ask, I don't know if you've been over this before, why did you stop being a police officer? Hey, I know there's a weird answer.
I want to leave that for like a special episode. If this podcast does actually become better, and
you'll say that because I know there's some very interesting elements.
Oh, because it's probably what you heard.
Mm-hmm. With the people involved.
Yeah, the city manager and the police chief, the lieutenant who committed suicide because he was being investigated.
I don't know what happened with why, but it's sad, dude. You know that there's been more suicides in the department since then. It sucks.
No, this lieutenant was actually pretty corrupt. He
He was one of the.
Yeah, he did it because the next day he was called in. When you called in, it's like bring your lawyer with you. Kind of deal. So there was a lot of rumors, and he was a. Man, I don't want to go into detail, but he was a pretty bad guy.
See, I stay away. So I'd never heard anything like that. That sucks. I know he was internal affairs, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I knew that. That's about all I knew.
Yeah,
I know he had been with the department for a while too, because I knew he knew my dad from back when my dad was with the department.
Well, he turned out I was right about him.
Yeah.
He was corrupt, and
I wonder. I mean, if that is the case, if he was corrupt, I wonder if there's a point where they realize they're corrupt at this point, and they're just, or do they still think they're doing what's right but getting a little for them? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they think?
Well, they're going to justify it some way in their head. They have to justify it in their head. I think it's rare when there's some guys that actually sit down and are really honest with themselves. Like, I'm a corrupt cop. I'm doing this for corrupt reasons. There's no way I'm justifying this.
I wonder what the justifications were, though. You know, that's when I'd love to sit down with Big Willie. I would.
That'd be a cool episode.
I would give my left nut to sit down and have a conversation with Big old Willie.
And he's not gonna admit to anything. I'm pretty sure he's not.
He's already sentenced. Why not, dude?
He might be trying to appeal it. His lawyer probably told him no, because he probably did. I heard rumors about some really worse stuff that he did, covering up murders and stuff.
I hadn't heard anything about that, but I've heard. I try to stay away from rumors most of the time, but I've heard a lot. That's such a big name that you can't really avoid those rumors.
If you guys want to look into this, look into Willie Lovett, Savannah Chandler Mental Police Department. When was it? 2013? Yeah, around 2013-14 for that circus.
I would love, though, to just have it, no emotion of all. I wouldn't be angry. He wouldn't be, because there's no reason to be angry. I would just love to sit down and pick his brain and have honest answers with him. I just wonder with people like that who become corrupt and abuse their power, if they justify it or how they justify it. It's intriguing.
I don't think you could get a straight answer out of him. His tongue is so crooked it could open a wine bottle.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the truth from that guy. But it's like anything else. It always starts with something small and grows from there. You probably started with some guy offer him some money, get him out of a parking ticket. I said, okay, well, it's only $20 for a parking ticket, whatever, or a speeding ticket.
Did you take any of that stuff personally? I did for a little bit, especially with the St. Patrick's Day stuff, how he was manipulating officers, but he was using the cameras on River Street to divert foot patrols from those areas.
I wasn't even aware of that part.
That was a huge part of it that had been in the news. I read about that he was using camera footage from the times we were being told, because you work the street, they tell you, stay in 2 pairs, make sure you're moving this way, that way, moving to this area. They'll come over the radio just to be annoying, and it turned out that some of those directions we were being given were to steer away from
his side business.
Yes. That was he was getting money to steer people away.
The sick part about what was going on, I can't believe she still has a job, was, I don't want to say the name, the major. She knew what the hell was going on for years, and she did nothing. That's the worst.
I don't think I think it's from what you're talking about. And she's gone. Did it start with a T?
The black woman? Okay, then, yeah.
Yeah, she's gone. She got fired.
No.
No. She didn't get fired. She retired. I'm sorry. She retired. And then the city hired her as a civilian. But then for some reason she stopped, and now she's a civilian with the Chatham County Police Department.
She's a terrible woman. one thing I say.
I've never had any run-ins with her, but I've only heard terrible things.
She complete idiot. Like that's one. She's actually a bad example of someone that's never been a leader or any type of leadership position. And what made it worse is that not only she made bad decisions and bad policy calls, she was complicit. Like a lot of stuff that was going on in the department.
Sorry. I'd never had an interaction with her, but everybody I've ever known that has had one has said those things. That she was a dirty person.
Yeah. Oh well, let's talk about some fun stuff.
Yeah, some fun stuff.
Bring the mood up a little bit. I've already cried.
What's funny, Frank?
What's funny? Let's talk about Burning Man.
Yeah, tell me about Burning Man.
Dude, that was an amazing experience.
Is it anything like
Disney.
Mad Max?
It was kind of like Mad Max.
That's the impression I get.
It was. I'll tell you, everyone this. After I went, like I tell everyone, I think they should go at least once in their lifetime, just to check it out because it was amazing.
I would.
It's a really. It was. I never encountered a culture, atmosphere, or people like that before.
I would. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to.
It's fucking fun. I would do that
You
again in a
hit right on
heartbeat.
the head. I love a bed and I hate people.
But my thing is, I'm a little bit scared of using psychedelics.
I wouldn't let you.
I don't.
Well,
That's a huge part of
what?
Burning Man, isn't it?
I mean, it's part of it. Only thing I did while I was there was drink and smoke weed. Guys right next to my camp were actually pretty cool guys to offer me LSD, and I took LSD because the year before that I took the time to actually go experiment with some stuff.
Yeah.
Because one thing I experiment, guys, with psychedelics. I'm not going to experiment with anything else because I wanted to see about the whole opening your mind thing. But I took they asked me about LSD and like, you want to take it? Like, no. But they were cool about it. It's like, yeah, we're just offering. It'll be fun, but like, yeah, it'll work. I told them like, nah, I only did it once. It was a terrible experience. I'll never do that shit again. That literally is it has to be the top 4 or 5 worst things that happened to me in my life, and LSD was like number 5.
I've never heard a good LSD story. They're always wild.
Yeah, it was too much. Like it was like I remember reading that psychiatrists I think they still do take LSD so they know what schizophrenia is like. Because I'm pretty sure I had the same symptoms. Like I literally did not know
There's a lot
what was
of
real.
doctors in Sweden and in Germany that will take LSD to be able to properly get into the mind of a schizophrenic patient.
That's wild.
And I believe it because like it was so terrifying not knowing what was real or not. Like nobody should ever feel like that. Like, oh my god, am I real or is this place real? Oh, it was that bad. And the guy I was with, we went back to his house. I threw up on his carpet, but when I threw up a rainbow. I was like that was the only funny part.
Some Skittles, bitch.
No, it would turn out. I think my senses were actually being crisscrossed because what I was hearing, I was seeing, and what I was seeing, I was hearing. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
You can taste colors.
Yeah, you could taste color. It was so bad. I'm like, this is horrible. Please go away. I never want to do this again.
Did anything from your past pop up with that? Did it trigger anything for your past? Like,
well, we started talking after that because once you start coming down and you feel it's like you just feel really good coming down. So we're just talking about stuff. Well, there was 2 things I thought was actually now I'm thinking about 3 things that are really interesting. At least I could say that were positive about that bad experience. One I saw was important to me, like my grandma and stuff. So I kind of saw that because I wanted to see my grandma again. Like, no, I want to see my grandma again. Then the second thing was, was talking to the guy because we started just random talking, and I was getting some stuff off my shoulders, so it actually felt pretty good. And the other thing I thought was interesting was that even though I was going crazy, I remember there was a part of myself that was kind of like still sane. It was kind of like a
part of you, it was along for the ride.
Yeah, that was like knew what was going on. It was like, okay, Frank, stay calm. There was even though it was like pure chaos in my head, there was that small little candle light that was not flickering. It's like, no, it's gonna be all right. Just hold on.
Do you watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah, like
the episode where Frank gets into the porta potty, or he thinks he's in the Doyle's RV.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's trapped.
Sheets of acid.
Yeah, and he thinks he's like, Frank. He's talking to himself, Frank, you're gonna be okay.
Well, I took one thing I like to take, and the thing about psychedelics, one thing, like people, I don't feel addicted. Well, I want to say I don't feel addicted to it because all alcoholics or all addicts say the same thing.
Yeah.
But like, I like them, but I don't have the need to do it every day or every month. Like last time I took mushrooms was maybe 2 months ago.
I'm scared of what they would do to me. I can't.
Well, take a small dose.
See, I wouldn't want him to do it because even when he just is alone with his thoughts,
Mhm.
he can go to dark places.
Less now, though. Now.
But
Well-
even still,
Well-
your paranoia shows, and I don't. That's the last thing I want to deal with.
Well, the thing with the mushrooms was when I did it the first time, one, it takes like 45 minutes to kick in. So you're sitting there, so I was listening to a podcast. I was listening to Tom Segura talk. It's like, then I was like looking up at the ceiling, like, oh, look at that. So it's like, the thing about mushrooms, like, your perception of things change, but it's not like you're seeing something that's not there. It's not like, definitely not like LSD, you're seeing weird shit. Like, no, like, your vision becomes more enhanced, basically. You get to,
Yeah.
I remember sitting outside underneath a tree. It's like, man, this is a really beautiful tree. I started actually noticing the different leaves on it, the branches. But then I started actually going to like some deep thoughts. And the thing about mushrooms, like, it forces you to kind of like work out those thoughts. Okay,
Yeah.
why am I feeling like this? What was the different side of it?
See, I'm just scared of what it would make me feel.
Really, it made me feel good. I only had one bad experience with mushrooms, and it took it too much.
Yeah.
No, I only had one bad trip with mushrooms, and it's because I tried to take this thing called a heroic dose, which is
That doesn't sound good. But
no,
it
it's
sounds
not.
like something you would do.
it's like it's called a heroic dose. So I took 5 grams of mushrooms,
oh
Holy
my
shit.
God.
and like at first it was amazing because I was having I worked out some of the thoughts I was having. I'm like, man, life is beautiful. Music is what brings us together. I was going, but then I had one bad thought, and that completely escalated from there. I ended up calling my mom over and then my grandma over, so they both
Holy
came and checked on me.
What did they think about that?
Only thing I told my mom, well, I told my mom the truth, but then when my grandma came over, I was like, yeah, I told her the truth by saying like, yeah, I ate bad mushrooms, so she thinks I was just sick.
Did she believe it?
Yeah, well, she's not, because like I told her like my stomach
Old
doesn't
school
feel good,
grandmas.
but I did tell her the truth, kind of like, yeah, I ate bad mushrooms.
Yeah, you did. I mean,
But my mom knew like I was on mushrooms.
Well, see, my biggest worry with him doing mushrooms is, way back in high school, I had a friend who had done mushrooms, and of course, bad trip, because what mushroom doesn't have a bad trip?
Yeah.
But, it affected him even years after. We'd be in mid-sentence, and he'd stop and stare and start shaking in fear. Shadow people.
Yeah.
He believes in shadow people.
I do.
I
Okay,
believe in shadow people. He doesn't need to do
You don't
any
believe in
psychedelic
it? You don't believe in shadow?
No.
because I don't need him going on a bad trip where he don't ever come fully all the way down.
You don't believe in shadow people,
Well,
Frank?
it's shadow people.
What are-
Shadow people, like, have you ever seen the movie Lights Out?
Oh yeah, that was a good movie.
Basically
That's
the
a
same
shadow
thing.
person.
Oh, okay.
But there is all kind of conspiracy theories. I saw there's a thing on a sheet, so I'll save it.
That terrifies me. No,
Yeah.
I don't want him. No.
Yeah, probably not then.
Weed's the only thing he's allowed to do.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I'm
So,
not
I mean, I
mentally
get some.
prepared for anything else coming out of your crazy ass brain.
I get some good bud, so I'm fine with that. I mean, this is the best stuff I can get.
Oh, it's dispensary grade.
Mm-hmm.
Spent-
Yeah.
One thing that was nice when I did go to Barner, man. I stopped at a dispensary in Nevada, or Reno, Nevada. It was nice, like a nice little atmosphere.
And it's the product is
It's a lot better.
Yeah,
So,
because you know what you're getting.
You know, I got myself those guava edibles. So like these little tasty candies.
Yeah.
So good, but it's like you can't eat too much.
That's how I've got the vape. I got the vape from there, man, and it's delicious. But you got to be careful because that'll sneak up on you real quick. Take 2 or 3 and think you're good, and 10 minutes later you're like, oh, 1 or 2 more. Nope. Nope, that was bad.
Shit. Man.
What else? I feel like there was more silly stuff we could go over.
This is what happens when you smoke a little too much weed with 2 ex-cops.
Yeah.
What about car jousting?
What was that?
Oh, I don't know. Were you ever there when we would get in the car? We would get in the cars and
Hobo golf?
those
No, I didn't do that.
there's stories. Were you ever there when me and Dobbs would get in the stuff? Well, we would drive construction equipment.
What?
Yeah.
You drove construction.
They were on
Did you
Truman.
know
Man.
Dobbs, or not Dobbs, Dunn? Did you know Dunn?
Yeah, I know, Dunn.
She
You
doesn't.
wanna tell
No,
them about the
no,
time you put him in
no,
prison?
no. 'Cause I like him a lot.
I like Dunn too.
No, I don't want to. No.
I'll tell you at dinner.
Okay.
You were never there with
I was there with Dobbs and Dunn, but I wasn't there when you guys did the construction equipment.
Fire extinguishers?
Oh, fire extinguisher penises?
No, what happened?
Well, there was an old Christian bookstore on Mall Boulevard, and it was vacant, and we would go in there and clear it because of the homeless people.
Yeah.
And been told to, because they break into cars. We weren't just being assholes, just going to screw with them. We were, for a reason, but we cleared it, and it was empty, and another officer found 2 fire extinguishers, and proceeded to pounce around like ponies, yelling "fire extinguisher penis" and shooting each other with the frost. Were you there when I got in the foot pursuit with the 2 burglars, and we ended up in the creek, and I was swimming with them?
No. Oh, wait. Yeah, I remember seeing you afterwards because you were covered in mud.
So that's a funny. So burglars, and so we get one, and the second one comes out. We're running through the woods, and I know we're going towards the creek, and I'm thinking, no, and splash, we're in, we're swimming, we're crawling out, and we're running, and I'm calling it out, and then a sergeant, I don't want to use his name, because he's a terrifying man, you know, he starts with a C.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he goes, "Where's he at, Durrance?" And I go, "He's a soaking wet motherfucker right there," on the radio, and oh, holy crap. And so we get him, and I'm happy, I'm pumped up, and Sergeant Carroll goes, "Boy, what did you say on the radio?" I said, "I'm sorry, sir, I was so mad because I just jumped in the water, my phone's in my pocket," and then he was like, "Son, there is no way that you were as mad at that point as I am right now." And I'm like, holy shit, I have fucked up. I was pumped. I caught 2 burglars. I have 2 foot chases back to back. Got them both. I was so happy. And then I felt the life drink. He was like a Dementor at that moment. That was my happy moment. And I couldn't cast my Patronus. And he sucked it. But then I had the most unlikely savior. Lieutenant Ramona Gamble.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she came and saved me. She goes, "Sarge, those were them commercial burglars. You can get the fuck over that."
Get the fuck over that.
Yeah, that was how it went. Oh, man, that was funny. I thought I was dead. And at that moment when he laughed, I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm good.
Oh, yeah. How come... Did you know about Diane's retirement?
Mm-hmm.
How come you weren't there? I came for that.
Oh, I didn't know she had a party.
Oh,
I knew she retired.
Oh, yeah, she had a little party.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I heard the circumstances.
Yeah.
Not to put Diane's business out there. I'm like, man, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
I've heard horror stories about that one.
Like, man, I would retire too.
She got me one time. I was smoking like 2 blocks from a crime scene. She chewed me out, said I was going to contaminate the scene because I was 2 blocks away.
Okay.
And that was, she couldn't believe she had the nerve because I was covered in blood. That was another funny story.
What happened?
Me, Comro, Redfield, maybe Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
In a shift, it was 6 in the morning, and the stabbing came out, and it was domestic, and we show up, and dude's there, and everything's calm.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, the guy that got stabbed takes off running, and so Comro goes to grab him, and he slips out his hand, and Comro looks, he's got blood, and he's like, oh, and so we take off, we're sprinting, and Comro's like kind of jogging back there, and so I catch up, and I wrap the dude up, and we hit the lawn and slide, and I'm like, dang, that was slippery, and I look down, like, oh, motherfucker, and we called it the blood slip and slide incident.
Oh, God.
I have a lot of experience with bodily fluids on me.
Well, I got shit on twice on 2 separate occasions by the same guy.
That's karma, though.
By the same guy.
On...
Well, the first time, this all happened when I was in training. This was my first use of force. Johnson was my training officer, and we went to the Mexican restaurant. Yeah, I heard he's a sergeant now.
Mm-hmm.
We went to this Mexican restaurant, and basically this guy. I'm gonna hold off for a moment because I got asked these questions. I don't want to get too much high, guys. I feel pretty high enough, and you guys probably noticed by now. But anyway, so we get to the Mexican La Napolera. It's right off of Abercorn, right next to
Tire place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get there. The guy, like, he's a homeless guy, and he's drunk, and the owners want him to leave because he's cursing out loud, and he smells, and he's been drinking, and he's bothering the customers. So he was sitting on the bench right in front of the restaurant. And so I get there, and Johnson tells him, like, hey, come on, leave. And the guy gets pissed off, and he stands up, and he's about to hit Johnson. And Johnson's idea was, because the guy was so drunk, he was going to take a step back and let him fall on his face when he drew the punch.
Yeah.
But he said, out of nowhere, you saw a brown and blue streak of lightning. I punched the guy so hard that he went flying back into the bench. He said, "Oh, my back!" He fell to the ground, and I jumped on him. We put handcuffs on him, and I was like, "Well, man, he's soaked, and what the fuck?" So I thought he had a liquor bottle in his pants. I thought it was that, but like, no, it's still intact. And then I start patting him down. I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck's that smell? As soon as I punched him, he shit himself. And it wasn't the dry shit, it was the wet shit. And went through his pants.
You evacuated his bowels.
So we ended up he had to go to the hospital, so we had to take him to the hospital too. Gets checked out, and they're going to take him from there to the jail. And me and Johnson, we go back to our spot right in front of Kmart to go type the report. And we're talking, I'm like, dude, I can still fucking smell him. I think his smell is in my nostrils. Sorry, guys.
I'm good.
Okay. So anyway.
Yeah.
I thought the smell was in my nostrils, and I bend over to smell my pants. Like, fuck, his shit is on my pants because we're wearing the dark navy pants, so you can't see the stains. Like, oh my God, this is disgusting. But the second time was a month later, where they called me to the crime scene. Like, hey, Frankie, we need you to come to this crime to the gas station for this drunken public guy. You're gonna know who he is. So I get there, it's the same guy, and he's drunk again. He's making an ass out of himself, and we try to tell him to leave. He doesn't want to leave. It's like the gas station owner wants him off the property permanently, so they want to ban him. And like, all right, well, we gotta leave. He don't want to leave, so I went to arrest him for public intoxication. This motherfucker's pants comes off when I start handcuffing him from behind. And he shits again.
Was it Eugene?
I'm not sure if it was Eugene. It was a white guy.
I forgot. Dude with the shuffle?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't him. It wasn't Eugene. I remember Eugene.
About now. Oh, Eugene.
The shuffle.
No.
I remember actually seeing him with his pants, like he had dried shit and blood coming on down in his pants.
Mm-hmm. You know the story that I've always heard about him, though, right? The story I've always heard about Eugene with, and I've quasi-verified it. I'm kind of high, so I can't really... But the story I've always gotten is that Eugene is actually a very wealthy man.
That's the same story I heard, too.
He worked for Gulfstream, and he just had a break. He just walked away. His family still lives in the area. They're still wealthy, and he just wasn't want their help. So he just wanders. I hit it with my nose.
Oh, fix the cable.
Hold on one moment, guys. I'm going to mute his mic. All right, do it again.
Hello?
Testing, 1, 2, 3. All right, guys, sorry about that. Something happened with the mic, and sorry about the bad feedback. I'm going to try it.
Where's that pen at?
Oh, right here.
I want to see if I could. I don't edit that. I don't edit my podcast, but I will try to edit that out.
Is my mic working now? Fine.
Yeah, it's working fine now.
Leave it to you to break something.
You didn't break it. It's just
My nose.
It's technology. It happens.
All right. So,
Where are we at? Eugene.
yeah, we're at Eugene.
Yeah. And this is wild. I wonder why.
I don't know. Shit happens.
Yeah. It's just cool, though. I mean, it's...
Well, the human mind can only put up with so much before it just overloads. So that's probably what happened to Eugene. Probably what happened to Maggie, too.
Hmm?
The lady that walks everywhere in Savannah.
She's
She lives
sane.
in Atlantic.
She's sane.
She's sane, but there's something that she's not completely sane. You cannot look at her and say she is completely
I
sane.
think she is. But I'm
You're
also...
not sane, so.
How did we get there?
I don't know. I was taking care of food.
Oh,
It's done, by the way.
how did we get to that?
We start talking about bodily fluids.
Oh, that's right. Bodily fluid stories. Oh, puke. I've got a lot of puke stories.
I got a couple of puke ones.
There was one time we showed up for a domestic, and there were two brothers with their shirts off, and they were wrestling. And it was me and Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And we jump in, and we're fighting, and I look down, and there's chicken, and I'm like, that's weird. There's no plates around here. And, like, so we're fighting, and then they start throwing up again, and we realize we're rolling around in piles of puke, wrestling with these guys. That was terrible.
Ugh, God.
I have a bodily fluid story.
All right, well, you gotta go close to the mic for that.
It is your story, actually.
Get closer. Be careful.
Don't screw it up.
Can you hear me?
Let's lay against his.
Come here, baby.
Yeah, there we go.
It's too hot out.
Snuggle with me.
We're doing this from a couch.
Like 2 weeks into our relationship,
Mm-hmm.
barely know him, barely stalked him on Facebook, so I didn't know much about him. I get a phone call at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and he's like, "Just talk to me." Okay, what's going on? Just talk to me. Just talk to me. Just talk to me, or I'm gonna puke everywhere.
Oh.
So I'm like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He's like, "I have decomposing brain matter all over my uniform."
Mm-hmm.
Do I remember that? Okay, well,
I don't know.
yeah. Go ahead, finish your story, because I think I'm.
Oh no, that's pretty much it. But that was interesting. The entire phone conversation was just talk to me. Just keep talking. I'm talking. What the fuck do you want me to say? And he gets to his house, and all I hear is like, I can hear the badge flying across the yard. I can hear his gun belt slam onto the ground, and I can hear the zippers, the Velcro, everything. I could tell he is just stark raving naked in his front yard, and then I hear the water hose just hosing himself down, and then you just start hearing like, That's still my favorite story. One of them. My other favorite story is Kane kicking you, telling you what's wrong with you.
Yeah.
Well, tell the first story about the brain matter thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one, dude.
What?
I don't.
I remember.
I remember hearing something happen.
I remember it. You were telling me you had gone to a call for a wellness check and found a body that was clearly there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and somebody had you turn the fucker over, and the body just exploded.
Oh yeah. That was on like 37th though. I don't know why I was in precinct 3 because I was at the 37th area.
They were shorthanded.
I do remember that though.
I remember it very well. We had to burn your uniform. The smell wouldn't come out.
Mm.
And then Supply gave you a big fucking to-do about getting a whole nother uniform.
Mm.
Well, I need the other uniform. You want the fucking ashes, bitch? Like, what the fuck you want?
You want the you want the brain matter?
That was a while ago. That was back in Willie Lovett day.
No, it wasn't. It was like 3 weeks into us dating. We've only been together for 4 years.
Oh.
It was like 3 weeks into us dating. It was a week after you scared the shit out of me because we were on the phone and somebody started shooting at you.
Oh my god.
That was a wild night.
Story.
That was a wild night.
Yeah,
we
what's
were
that
on the
story?
Phone, and it was probably about midnight, and I was telling him good night because I was going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And all I hear is pop, 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 pop. And he's like, I gotta go. Somebody's shooting at me. I'll call you back. And then, like, 4 o'clock in the morning, he calls me, and I answer immediately. Like, my phone didn't leave my hand. I'm just staring at my screen. I'm having my roommate call my phone, like, every 10 minutes to make sure it's still working. And then he's like, what the fuck are you still doing up? What the fuck do you mean, what am I still doing up? Last I heard you were getting shot at. This isn't a daily routine for me, son of a bitch. And he's just like, oh, well, I'm fine. Well, fucking thank God.
That was a fun night. That was a wild night.
No, that was not fun. Not fun.
That must have been shortly after you left because it was me. I was on Midnights.
Yeah, that had me sometime after I left.
So it was on Midnights, and so we were shorthanded, as usual back then. And then a cutting had gone out, and so everybody was over there, and I was like the only free unit. I was the only free unit, and then Nizer was he was coming back from the jail from an arrest.
Yeah.
And so everybody's tied up on the radio. I don't think anybody even realized what was happening in radio for a minute because it was kind of it spazzed for a second, but then it got calm, and so I don't know if they processed it because they were still airing updates about stabbing, and so I'm on the radio talking about some craziness, and so it took everybody a minute to connect. But so I'm cruising on White Bluff, right there at the apartment complex, the one that looks like a castle, and
yeah, I remember that one.
And so there's a car, and it's a dark thing, it's going to Impala sitting there with its lights off at the entrance. I'm like, that's fucking weird, and so I'm just cruising. I'm on the phone with her, and then all of a sudden, muzzle flash, and then and shooting at the car completely missed. And so I call it out, but like the first thing I say after we get off the phone and key up the radio is like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. Apartment complex, White Bluff, signal 7 code 4. And then so we start chasing. I don't think any of the supervisors had realized because it was still everybody was so tied up with that stabbing. And Alberts was on a traffic stop, and I guess I don't know if he hadn't heard, but the pursuit came by him, and he said all he heard was the tires squealing, and then the pursuit, and then he realized what was going on the radio, and so he jumped in, and so we're chasing them. We're like 120 on Abercorn. We get to Portman's, and they go out, doors up, and then 2 of them come out, and then Brent car comes screeching the wrong way down Abercorn, is sitting right next to us, and we keep going with the felony stop, and then this third guy doesn't want to get out the car, and then I had some choice language. I believe what I said because he was standing there with his hands at his side, looking at me. After the car, we're doing the felony stop, the whole thing, And so it was something like, "Show me your hands, or I'm going to paint this parking lot with the top of your head." And it was intense. It was because there was gunshots at my car. Came from right where those cars were sitting, and so we never found the gun in the car, but they found the cartridges. Some of them were there, some of them were right at the parking lot where they had started shooting. Their story was that somebody was shooting at them that I didn't see.
Oh my god!
And the whole thing. This was during the Janot incident.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Tensions were high. We were on the 12-hour shifts, and so that made their story less believable. but somebody was shooting at them. I'm like, yeah, right, you assholes.
Did he get charged?
We charged them. I can't remember. We didn't do ag assault. We found ammunition, cartridges, a whole bunch of ecstasy, a whole bunch of meth, and a whole bunch of shrooms. And so I typically don't like discreet drug charges, but they were shooting at me and I couldn't find the gun, so fuck it. You're going to go for something, assholes.
It's like, yeah, stack charges.
Yeah. So we ended up, because we couldn't prove their story was untrue. But.
Man.
That was a weird incident.
Fucking Savannah.
It was a fucked up incident.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Scared the shit out of me.
I think the only time I came close to getting shot was I think you were here for this. There was a couple of robberies that ran out. This is back when Precinct 4 had a lot of robberies, actually bank robberies.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the second one within 20 minutes, and the first one was 2 miles away from the second bank, and the first one was someone that had a construction outfit on, or the what you call the vest, the fluorescent vest. So I just did a stop with some guy that fits the description, and wasn't him. So I was driving down I forgot the street. I was heading north towards Durin, and I was behind this car with two guys, and I'm like, I think this might be the suspects. And I made a mistake of not calling out properly over the radio. I called out as a traffic stop, asking for backup, but I never said like, hey, I think this might be the robbery suspects. So I pull over, and I waited. I'm like, I'm just gonna wait for backup. So when they the guy got out of the car, the driver got out of the car, I'm like, oh fuck, he fits the description. Why the fuck is he getting out of the car? I jump out of my car and yo, get back in the car, get back in the car. He's like, man, he's like facing me. He has hands by his waist, but I could see him. And he's like, man, don't shoot me, don't shoot. I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna shoot you. Stop moving, stop moving. He kept turning around and then he started running. I'm like, man, this guy be the robbery suspect.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision. Do I stay? Do I wait for backup? And the second guy is still in the car. So what I did was the guy, driver who was running, left the front door open. So I quickly jogged right next to the door. I had my gun out. I pointed at the passenger, and I looked at him. I'm like, okay, I don't see any weapons, so I took the risk. So I ran after him, and he was running, and we started going through the backyards. And I'm giving out my location as we're running through the backyards. I jump over this fence, and I got my my pants stuck on the fence and ripped it open. And I stopped. That caused me to stop for just a second because the guy ran somewhere in the backyard. I didn't see which side of the house he ran on, so I had either go right or left. So I went right, and when I got to the front of the house, there was this. The street was pretty big. The front yard was pretty big, and the other side of the street was houses, and their front yards were pretty big too. So he had a lot of ground to cover. I wasn't that far behind me, so I'm like, I thought he was still somewhere in the backyard. So I went in front of the house, and was going to the other side, and there was these two brick pillars that had that led into the backyard, and I walked behind there, and I saw the guy standing on the other side of the house, holding a gun, and he was looking in the backyard for me. He didn't know I went to the front yard.
Ooh.
And I pulled out my gun, and I was afraid. I'd like, man, this is gonna be a shootout. I thought it was gonna be a shootout, and I was behind a brick pillar for cover. So like, I got good cover. He's the one exposed, so he didn't know. He still didn't know I was right behind him. So I keyed up at the same time. I had my gun pointed at him, and I'm like, man, if this is gonna go down, it's gonna be legal. I yelled at the radio at the same time, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun. So it was recorded.
Yeah.
The guy looked at me, and when he looked at me, he scared the shit out of me. I just remember ducking behind a brick pillar, and when I looked back up again, he took off running.
Yeah.
But this is when Lord showed up in his detective car.
Oh, Lord.
And I'm like, yeah, he's got a gun. It's like, all right, man, let's go fuck him up. Let's go.
That's a dude I would want in a fucking running fight. Yeah. I mean, go get him.
Well, like, we did the whole perimeter thing. We had the police copter out there. Robbery showed up. And he, the passenger, basically this was the story. After detectives took the passenger to get questioned, the passenger was the one who owns the car. He doesn't have his license because I think it was DUI or something. So he had his friend from work to drive him from work and stuff. So his friend was driving his car, and they found the guy just had a warrant on him, like a probation warrant, and that's it. So he wasn't a robbery suspect. He just ran because he had a probation warrant.
Wow. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was that story.
That's a weird story, too.
Yeah. Weird shit.
That's some weird shit. Summary so far, Savannah is a weird fucking place.
I'm glad I don't live here anymore either.
I kind of like it. Kind of like it. Kind of don't, kind of do. I'm kind of torn. Because, I've had so much wild times on these streets.
I mean,
it's kind of like it's my city.
It's fun to visit, but I want to live here again. It's too much.
We've been thinking about going to Richmond Hill. Just a little bit further out.
Yeah. The only thing is, like, I want to be a place where there's actually like a nightlife kind of thing or social life.
Savannah's got one, but it's dangerous.
You
might die.
Hermits. We don't go out.
Well, I like going to like a nice little bar, not a hole in the wall bar, but like a nice bar to sit down and drink.
Oh, I meant to bring it up when you were telling your story about screaming on the mic. Is there anybody that hasn't heard Frank scream? He can become a terrifying presence when he's screaming. Yeah. You can become a terrifying man very quickly.
Really? I didn't, like, always thought like I was kind of like a jolly guy.
Well, no, when you get, that's the thing. That's what made it scarier, more imposing. Yeah. What was it? It was Chuck, the episode of Chuck where he's like, "Do you find me imposing? That's okay. That's what I was going for." That's like Frank when he gets wild.
With Peplo, there was an incident I didn't talk to Peplo for a couple of weeks because he told his view on it. But
I think we've all had those points with Peplo.
I'm like, man, Peplo pissed me off.
Yeah, there's been a couple.
I
love you though.
But we were at the hospital and I was helping him with something. Someone got arrested. It was like a DUI or something. But I was there and I ran into this nurse who we're supposed to go on a date and she completely blew me off. And for some reason my tension was high. And I was trying to just ask her normal because she was kind of like.
I remember the sense.
Well, she walked away, and I was trying to catch her attention, and I went to ask her, "How come? What happened with the date?" And Peplo sound. And I saw her face. I saw a couple of doctors' faces. It's like what you said. Like I become really opposing when I'm.
But he's not. Yeah. He could become.
Yeah, I guess I became really scary because in my head I was just asking what happened with the date, but I was thinking my nerves were still worked up for some reason. My nerves was like.
I'll tell you a perfect example for anybody who.
But quickly, see, they thought like I was freaking yelling at her, and Peplo told everyone like I yelled at her. I'm like, I didn't yell. I didn't realize I did that.
Yeah, I remember. That was a while ago though. A good example. It's like when Gandalf, he's like chilling with the hobbits, and he gets a little mad, and he gets like bigger, darker,
greater.
And then he's like, oh, when he chills back out. Yeah, that's like Frank. He gets that dark shit, and then okay.
I try not to let it out unless I have to. But sometimes I think
little pipe.
Back in the day, the tobacco pipe.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go into the question part, so we can start having dinner soon.
Yes.
Christopher's wife, lovely life, made us some dinner, so we'll get this part over with. All right, guys. Just to remind everyone, the reason why I ask these questions is because I believe that we all share something with each other. And these questions help bring out that's something we can all relate to. Because down the road, as this podcast grows, which is surprising from last week, I have been getting more downloads. So I'm very happy about that. And my website's been getting more looked at. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to continue asking these questions because there's going to be other people I want to get on here is going to show different parts of life. Like this week, I'm going to look for a homeless man to talk to. I want to get his perspective of why he's homeless and what led him down that road. And I'm going to ask the same questions too, just to show like, hey, even a guy on the street, maybe we should take the time and maybe just give him $1 or just actually hear what happened to him.
I've got a guy. I'm gonna introduce you to.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it after when we eat. All right. Given the choice of anyone in the world from any time period, who would you want as a dinner guest and why?
The answer I have is going to be affected because I'm a little bit high.
Okay.
And Jordan's already probably knows the answer, and it's so terrible that it's going through time.
Mm-hmm.
No. That would be a good one. That would be a good second. Fat Mike Burkett from NoFX.
I never heard of him.
What the fuck is?
Want to say his name again?
Fat Mike Burkett from the band NoFX.
No, I never heard of him. No. Why does the name sound familiar though?
He's a fucking genius.
Do you listen to NoFX?
I never heard of NoFX.
So we're gonna have to fix that later.
Well, yeah, let's have dinner.
He's like the what's the word I'm looking for? He's like the father of the modern punk scene right now. He's the dude. People go to him with question. He runs his own record label, plays for the band NoFX, and he fucking lives his life exact way that you describe wanting to. That if an idea comes in his head and that's what he wants to do, he does it straight off the bat. And I would love to sit down and see how he finds the courage to do.
Just talk to him, pick his mind.
Yeah, because I mean, dude, he's married to BDSM porn star Lady Solma, I think is her name. And he, like, when the band plays, he wears like fucking BDSM costumes and fucking run around half naked and talking about how his wife fucks him in the ass with a dildo all the time and how he drinks her pee. He's doing it right now.
What the fuck?
He has no filter. I would love to sit down. Yeah.
Is he actually a fat guy?
No, he's not. There's this whole story. It's a long story.
Okay.
I read the book. There's a book about them.
I gotta look him up now because that actually sounds pretty interesting. All right. What constitutes a perfect day for you?
Now?
Yeah, now.
Getting up and having nothing to do, getting to lay down, and I play my Game Boy. Jordan plays her Game Boy. We watch some TV. Go get something to eat.
Take care of business.
Yeah, take care of business. And then relax. Which sounds such a boring answer. And if I went back in time and let myself hear that, I would whip my ass. Like, that is the most boring, perfect day ever.
Yeah, because I remember back in there, you're like, what the fuck's
I'm wild. I was wild, dude. I was fucking crazy.
You take Monster every day?
Yeah.
Every hour?
Because, I mean, that's the whole thing. Were you here for that? I got diagnosed with epilepsy.
For Monster? I believe it.
It was
from the other Monster
family.
you drank?
Yeah, well, that triggered it. But, yeah.
Okay.
So I had to change a lot. I've become a lot more mellow since then.
Have you had any seizures lately?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
really?
I had one. It was during the Janot era as well. I was here. I just moved in. We just gotten off work. Sergeant Kane let me go home early, and came in, dropped my uniform, and standing next to the bed. And Jordan said I just fell over and was shaking and threw up and shaking and threw up. And so she calls 911. And then Kane and Peplo show up. And Kane thinks I'm faking for a second. So he kicks me. He's like, boy, what's wrong with you? I don't remember any of this. This is the story that's been portrayed. And holy shit, dude. How did I get from that
to seizure?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a perfect day. And, yeah, because I brought up the whole Monster
thing. Because I've had to chill out. I've had to chill out since that happened. Holy shit, I'm fucking blazed.
We had to go back in time.
I had to go back in time a minute. But, yeah, since then I've chilled out. So my perfect day is now, is relaxing. Since then I've taken it down a notch.
All right. If you reached the age of 100 and had the choice to retain the mind of a 30-year-old or the body for the last 60 years of your life, which one would you want?
Mind of a 30-year-old.
Actually, I think everyone asked that question said the same thing.
Yeah, because I mean, the future's coming. I'll be able to fix that.
Okay, that's a different
busted body.
That part's a different answer. Hey, one said the bottom of 30, but you had a different answer.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about the future. We're there. So,
dude, watch Westworld.
Yeah.
That shit's getting intense. Like, holy crap!
There's all kind of weird shit going on. This is scientific advancements. I'll take that in mind of a 30-year-old.
Dude, yesterday I was watching a Vice episode, and they're talking about the material science, like the 3D printing, and then how material science is getting better. We actually print skin now.
Mm-hmm.
Then it led into another part was when they're actually going to talk to the idea of getting in contact with life, because the science is like, okay, it's highly improbable we're alone.
Yeah,
it's really improbable. We're not the only ones.
Yeah,
we have to look for them. So it's kind of freaky last night.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what's going on? Are we alone? Yeah. I was in the dark by myself. I'm still kind of like still a little jazzed up from a little encounter with the dark figures outside. So I have my Marlin 3030 right next to me. All right. Do you have a secret hunch on the way you'll die?
Yes, Jordan's not the answer. I don't know why. Violently. I don't know why.
You're out of it now.
Yeah, I know. That's her exact answer. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. When I read that question, first thought, if I'm being completely honest, that's the first thought in my head.
I mean, if you don't learn how to fold a towel, it very well could be.
Fuck you!
That's it. I'm done. I never knew this is how it would go.
Okay. If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Mm-hmm. I wish my parents would have never forced me to go to church, because I would have found my own way.
Yeah.
And I've started to now. We started to as adults, but looking back now, I would have found it a lot sooner had I not been forced to go down that path as such a kid.
Well, actually, no, I'm going to wait for ask that question, because that's going to be a question for later on. Yeah. That will lead into.
I mean, I still love my parents, but I just wish that I understand why they pushed.
Yeah.
But I wish they wouldn't have.
Yeah, I realized that because my parents did the same thing too with, well, mainly my mom with Catholic, being Catholic, and Christian, and non-denominational Christian. I kind of believe now, like, I think religion itself is an adult subject. The idea about finding God and stuff, and I think kids shouldn't be really taught that until they get older. Like, hey.
Well, kids don't understand.
No, it's I remember as a kid, they actually try and comprehend it.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's a daunting
thought. You and I grew up Catholicism. That shit is scary as hell.
Yeah.
That's what I would.
Especially if you're a boy.
I wish that they would have not pushed me, because I had to rebel. I was a kid. I was going to rebel. If they hadn't pushed me, I feel like I would have found it a lot sooner.
Yeah. Well, so were you actually, no, yeah, that's gonna be a question for later, so I'll wait. If you were arrested and your family and friends were not aware of what you were charged with, what would they assume you were arrested for?
I got into some kind of fight.
Violently.
Yes. Yes.
With Jordan.
No,
Throw the fucking towel.
No, there would be somebody that pissed me off somewhere that they'd be like, oh shit, who did he fuck up?
That wouldn't be an arrest. That'd be a body bag.
No body. Okay, you gonna love this one because you love comics. If you could wake up tomorrow and gain any power ability, what would it be and why?
Do you know that there is a correct answer to this question? This is not...
There
is a correct answer.
What is it?
It's not a multiple question. The ability that whatever you say becomes true.
That's actually pretty good.
That is the answer. I mean, you've got it.
That's actually a unique...
sounds really, really bad in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
But you gotta learn how to use it. But that is the correct answer. Because you can have anything. I want to fly. I want to be invisible.
That one's actually pretty good.
No.
Damn.
That's actually a pretty deep one. That's a deep...
Yeah.
Boy, the thing is, you love superheroes, so you actually thought about this.
I thought about it.
It's like... That's not a bad answer for that one.
That's the correct answer.
It's the correct answer. What, if anything, is too serious to be joked about?
Nothing.
Yeah, I believe in the context and the right situation. Like, you don't make a... Well, I remember we used to be cops, so we used to joke about, like, nothing was sacred.
Yeah.
I remember, like, you couldn't joke around... You couldn't be in uniform and be around other people... like civilians and make the jokes that we made, but when we were by ourselves, like especially when we came back from a disgusting or horrible crime.
What? It's not a lie.
What?
It's not, because I remember after his first seizure, Peplo drove all the way to the house just to hit the fucking lights to try to make him seize again.
What the fuck? Fucking Peplo.
Yeah.
He came out here to make you see.
Yeah, it was fucking
That
funny.
fat fuck.
So that's the way I live. That's still the way. I keep that mindset, but nothing. That way, I just never
I
get
think
mad.
That's why we get along so good.
Well, I believe everyone was a cop once, like for a week. We wouldn't have these issues with like.
There'd be no issues.
Like you can't joke around that. You can't make those jokes and blah blah blah. Like no, like
It's life.
yeah, like once you're a cop, like no, there's nothing. You could joke around about everything. Just make sure you're not doing that in front of kids or something that could get you in trouble.
Well, I remember him going to a really gruesome scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was
Yeah, get close when you...
Sorry. I remember him getting to a really gruesome scene, and I think this was the little Hispanic girl you tried so hard to say.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
But
I did.
right afterwards, he came to the house. He's like, "I'm hungry." He's covered in blood, like head to toe.
Well, that sounds like dirt stuff.
Throw the uniform out.
That's typical.
And he's just like, can you preheat the oven? I'm fucking hungry.
You got trouble.
Yeah, so yeah, nothing's sacred. I can joke.
Well, what's the story behind
This is
that?
why we get
That story?
along so
Okay,
well.
so it was terrible.
I'm gonna cry.
No. Suicide call, show up. This girl was like 13 years old. She had taken a bunch of pills and sliced her arms all up.
Oh man.
Yeah, and so she was on the bathroom floor, just covered in a pool. And so the address is somewhere on Ferguson. And
Yeah.
it's hard for EMS to find it, so I'm trying to call it out.
Okay.
And I'm tourniqueting, and I carried a Cat 5 tourniquet.
Oh, good.
So the one you just wrap it around. So I used that one, and then I tore off a part of her shirt that was she had cut already, and used another tourniquet with my baton.
Mm-hmm.
But so they show up, and she had lost a lot of blood, but I found out later she made it.
Oh,
so.
good.
But yeah. Yeah, so I was covered in the blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. That was the incident. I came in and I was like, I'm hungry. 'Cause, I mean, I felt fine because I mean, at the time,
You
my
saved
mind,
her.
she was alive. She was,
Yeah.
Fucking taquito
the heart
night.
was beating when I put her in the ambulance, so I was fine. I did the job fine, so I was happy about that. So I came home hungry.
That's what I was like. We need to watch
When I
this.
left her, she was alive. I feel like I tried hard to keep it that way. I did my job. I'm hungry now.
I had to mop the floors
Ugh.
the next morning because there were blood droplets everywhere. It
Oh
was
my
awful.
God.
But yeah, EMS took it and saved her. So
Ugh. All right. Oh, this is gonna be a good question for you. What conspiracy theories do you believe in?
so we were just at this. Shadow people, dude.
Oh yeah, the shop people.
That's one. Yeah. So it's a weird one. It's
So you believe like, was it like this exist in the same dimension, but they're like a different frequency or
I
something?
don't know. It could be.
I believe in demons.
I believe it's shadow. I don't know, something of the dimensions slipping over. I don't know. I sound crazy, but I'm told I'd be honest with this. So I believe in shadow people, and that they fucking, you can sense them sometimes when they're fucking not friendly. If anybody's interested, it's the phenomenon is associated with sleep paralysis. And if you've ever experienced sleep paralysis, you will say, okay, that dude was not just high and crazy. I know what he's talking about, because it happened to me. I was at Fort Benning for infantry training, and there was one night I woke up and I could not move. I was completely aware of everything. I could not move, and I didn't see anything. I heard footsteps, but it was basic training. It could have been somebody walking. And then I just remember waking up, and it felt like I woke up a couple minutes later, but it was hours later. But it was a weird experience, and since then, every now and then you see things to the corner of your eye, and there's documentaries and stuff about the shadow people.
Well, I remember there was a couple times when I was a teenager. I had that thing like what you said. You wake up from a dream, but you can't move. Like you know, okay, you're awake. You're in your bedroom, but it's a scary thing. It's a common phenomenon.
Yeah,
I forgot something.
It's associated with shadow people.
Yeah. Well, not that. Well, the part I know of, like I know it's common with the brain. Like when you sleep, I forgot what part of brain. There's a part of your brain that shuts off your body, so that way, when you dream, you're not running or kicking or moving. That's why you go paralyzed when you.
There's a very good documentary that explains the science behind that and the mythology behind the shadow people.
See, I like I gotta look that up because I didn't.
It's called The Nightmare.
It's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. There's a Netflix documentary called The Nightmare.
Ooh, I'm gonna watch that movie.
Yeah.
We can watch it tonight. Fuck it.
Fuck yeah. Okay. If you could travel in time into the future or the past, which would it be and why?
If you don't say Da Vinci, I swear to God.
The past.
And what part of the past?
Part of me wants to say like the Da Vinci time, but part of me wants to say the old glory days of punk time, where the fucking LA riots and all the bands were, just getting big, and every night was just violence and chaos and fun and punk rock.
I'm home. You're like,
punk
I'm
rock
home.
at its finest, and I'm gonna have to go with that. I'm going with the glory days of punk.
Actually, that's a good one. All right. When was it when you first fell in love, and how did it happen?
It's gonna be a weird answer for you because it's not a person.
Mm-hmm.
It was music.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. And God, I hate this because the guy that's the front man for the band has been got the whole sexual allegations thing going. But so one night, huge metalhead. My dad was always a punk, which was weird, and that's related to this story.
Yeah.
And I was always a metalhead, and he always liked faster, happier, and I was the brr, brr, brr. But one night after Headbangers Ball, some indie music program came on, and at the time the band was new, and it was brand new, and it was Jude Law and A Semester Abroad was the song and the music video, and just hearing the music and the song and seeing it was a whole like documentary compilation, like they were showing them running around and having fun and stuff, and doing all this stuff while they're making music. At that minute, I was like, I love punk rock. That was the first time I ever fell in love
with punk rock.
Yep. I remember it to this day, and it's song, even though Jesse Lacey's been called out as a fucking perv creep, that song will still send chills down my spine.
Man, that's a good answer though. All right. When's the first time you had your heart broken?
I don't want to say the brand new thing because that's stupid, but that was a funny answer. Not girls. That's always for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Breakups didn't really affect me and stuff. I don't know why. I guess I was kind of an asshole. So nothing really hit me hard for a long time. The first time something hit me hard was finding out like my dad died.
Oh.
Because we had stopped talking for a very long time. We had a bad relationship for many years, but for the past few years, like the last 4 or 5 years she was alive, we'd patched it up. We were talking, but there was so much time to make up for. And at that minute, when I heard the news, I felt like, oh shit, I've been an asshole before. If I've ever hurt anybody's feelings the way this hurts, that was bad.
Damn.
But that was my first heartbreak. It took me so much time. And we had such a great relationship.
Yeah, after you guys started making up?
Yeah. Oh.
Fun. Yeah, because I remember I was working when you had to leave.
Yeah, that broke me, dude.
We all chipped in money for you.
Yeah, I remember all the monsters and the chocolate chews.
We got a few cartons of monsters. They'll probably last them a day.
Yeah, they didn't last long.
All right. If you're going to wake up tomorrow with no memories except for one, which one would you keep?
I thought of this when I read this, and it's a sweet cheat answer. I would want to keep the memory of knowing my wife, Jordan, because she knows everything about me. So there we go.
It's like she's
I know that I
she's a
know her.
substitute.
If I know that I know her, if that's the memory that I know her and trust her, that's the memory I want
That's
to
the
keep.
backup.
Yeah.
She's her backup
I know
memory.
that whatever,
Backup hard drive. What
whatever,
the fuck?
I want the memory that whatever she says is going to be true. Because I know that she knows me and she loves me and she's honest. So bam, system restart.
System restart.
You just gave me the keys to fuck your world up.
God, I hope I don't get amnesia.
Hold on one sec, guys. The computer. Okay. What's the most terrifying moment in your life?
I need some time to think about this one. Because I saw the question and I still couldn't think.
I'll come back to that one. This is a fun one. What's the largest animal you think you can fight and win?
I think I could take a fucking wolf.
Yeah? I actually thought about this too. Like, I think if you had the right size knife and probably taped it to your hand.
Yeah, I
so
feel
that
like-
way you can still swing.
I
Like,
feel like
Go after a kangaroo.
I feel like I would push it. You know, I that would be my max limit. I'm like, I feel like I could take this motherfucker. I mean, maybe, but probably.
Leonardo DiCaprio over here.
well, I think, like, you probably get. Yeah, you're not going to walk away unscathed with that
I
one.
think I
But,
could take him though,
yeah.
because I've got that fire, man. I can turn vicious. I can turn into a fucking animal if I want to.
Fuck yeah!
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a question I want to ask since we're talking about spiritual beliefs. What are your spiritual beliefs? What are your thoughts on God and stuff?
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Mhm.
People often get this confused that we're not Christians. We are Christians. It's just they believe in not just the Bible but the Book of Mormon as well. It's a whole thing. Believe in everything. It's a weird subject. But yeah, that's I'm Mormon.
And you just made that. You came back to that.
Yeah,
Basically.
I came back to it. Yes, yeah. As my dad was very heavy into the church, and he never really forced it on me. And so when we made our connection later in life, he would talk about it and know how it made him feel. So I got the idea in my head. Oh, I'll go back to church now. And so that's how I came back around to it.
You go regularly, or you just go?
Yeah, we
when
try
you-
to go
you
regularly.
try to go
When I was a
regularly.
cop, it was impossible.
Yeah, that's right. You can't.
No,
you
but
can't
now
really plan it now.
we try to go. 3 out of 4 Sundays a month we'll go.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah,
You need a Sunday by yourself.
yeah.
Okay. There's something you dream of doing for a long time, and why haven't you done it yet?
The answer was running my own life, become my own boss. Nobody tell me what to do, and I waited for a long time, and now I do that. So that's the life I've dreamed of. I don't want anybody to tell me I can't dye my hair blue. I can't put a fucking 0 gauge needle through my ear, or fucking if I want to tattoo a dick on my forehead, I could do that.
Don't do it. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
don't do it.
Yeah,
But
I would say don't do it.
No tattoos
The
about
dream I
you.
had was being able to have that freedom and still support my family, and now I have that. And for the reason I didn't do it until now was I never had the opportunity to be able to live that life and still support myself.
That's an amazing answer. I'm still working on that. I don't want to say you got lucky because it's not lucky.
I
where
did. No, I'm telling you, I did.
No, we lucked out.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Okay. Well, like I tried to start this business from the ground up, and it's been so hard and so many pitfalls and.
That
But like I have the same dreams, like, and that's why I'm trying to do it. Like after what I learned from the police and working for Disney, it's like, man, I want that freedom.
We gonna talk about Disney.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about it after this.
yeah,
I'll tell you
that's-
some.
That's what I wanted.
It's like I was grateful for the job, but also too like I will not work for them again.
I just can't work for anybody now. That's what I've always wanted.
Let's see. What's the one thing that you're proud of but never had excuse to talk about?
I got stuck in a burning building one time.
Yeah.
With an old lady,
Mm-hmm.
and had to help her out. That was fun.
Ooh.
I was in the news and everything.
There's a newspaper article. What? When was this?
I'll let you
Was this when you were younger or?
No, this was here.
Oh shit! No way.
Mm-hmm.
You saved the old lady.
Another butthole puckering experience.
That was a whole deal. There was a power line had fallen.
Uh-huh.
They caught the trailer on fire, but it was like a slow burn. But the wire was live, and so those old ladies. So me and the neighbor kicked in the door and went in, and the door behind us collapsed, so we couldn't take her out through there. And so he went out the window to try to find another way around, and I took her out the back door. So we kicked the back door open, and then it slammed shut behind us, went through her out. And so the transformer was actually, like, had fallen onto the back porch. So we had to stand on the step. And I was about to jump over and grab the fence. And at that time, EMS pulled up, and they were like, no, don't. It's because the wires were touching that fence. And I almost jumped it, and that would have killed the shit out of me real quick. But we had to sit there next to that transformer waiting to explode.
Shit.
But it's a crazy story, but you can't ever bring that up without sounding
No,
like an
you
asshole,
can't.
you know?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't just say, like, in normal conversation, like,
Hey, guess what I did today?
Yeah, I ran into a burning building.
I would just rouse a couple of chicks like, hey, guess what I did today? I got pussy points for that.
He was tied down at that point.
He was what?
I was
He
we
was
were married.
tied down at that point.
Okay.
We weren't married, we were dating.
Oh, yeah.
Because Kane was still alive.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this later because I don't want to sound like I'm showboating or anything.
I know.
So I'll tell you about that part later. I contacted him after I found the news, so I'll tell you about what. I think you already answered that question. Let's do this one. This one's a little bit more lovely. What is your most treasured memory?
At the time it happened, it wasn't a treasured memory, but looking back on it now, it's related to my first falling in love story.
Yeah.
Dad was always the huge punk fan, and so we were in his shitty truck, and he got Blink-182 Enema of the State for the first time from Silly Mad CDs or something in Savannah. And he turned on What's My Age Again and was like, don't tell your mom. And we cranked it up. And at the time, I was like, this is so weird. But now, no, looking back, now that I'm just as big as a punk as he was, like, that memory is crazy that I was so young and my dad was fucking jamming out to Blink-182.
Enema.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love thinking back to that.
Yeah. All right. If you knew you were going to die 1 year, would you change anything about the way you're living, and
Nope.
why?
I would travel a little bit more.
Or where you want to go?
Geneva?
Save a lot of money because when I went to Switzerland, I didn't know how expensive it was there. I spent $60 on just having dinner.
Now, am I immune for that year?
What do you mean?
Am I immortal? Like, do I know?
Immune?
Can I do some fucking buck wild shit in my ear? Because I know I will not die.
No, I'm mortal. Well,
So I just know that in 1 year I'm going to die.
Yeah.
I don't have it's not like a big fish scenario where it's like, I know how I'm going to die, so I'm fine.
No, it's like, you have 1 year, that's it.
Okay. No.
Okay, if you had... All right, let's change it a little bit since I think you want to answer it this way. If you're going to die 1 year from now and you're immortal because that's when you're going to die, what would you do?
Oh, fucking, I would go... I would, shut the fuck up, phone watch.
Oh,
I would, halo diving from atmosphere. I'd fight some sharks. Maybe get into like some gunfights with some like super bad guys and just like do. And then I would mostly spend my time living my life the way I am now, but like I would get those like, okay, it's time. I've got to go use this. I've got to go. I know I'm immortal, so I'm gonna go take advantage of this for a couple days.
Do something dangerous.
I'm gonna come and spend most of my time of that year living my life normal, but then I would take random little things to go do that.
All right. Before we ask the last question, Before I ask the last question, did you find out what was the most terrifying moment in your life, or you don't really have those anymore?
I don't think I have those.
No,
I'm thinking I don't. I want to
because
give
you've
an
been through a
honest.
lot of shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I want to give an honest answer because I don't want to be dishonest. So I can't think of one.
Okay. Let's leave it as that. And this is the last question I ask anyone. It's a two-part question. What is the worst thing you ever done, and what is the best thing you ever done with your life?
Worst thing. Worst thing. Worst thing. I could think of a few bad things, but I can't think of like the worst. But I can give you a few answers.
Yeah.
And I really hope I've told you this before. This is an old story about fucking man whore me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a very, very young kid, there was a chick I dated for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And banged it. Great banging.
Yeah.
And we broke up. And it was pretty messy. And then her sister and I.
What the fuck?
Really?
Oh my god, look at his wife.
Really?
His wife is so pissed.
That's,
If I find out you hit on Haley, I'll fucking kill you.
no, I feel so terrible. I really do. And the thing is, the chick found out, and I've apologized.
Does he hit you?
No, I was halfway across the country.
Oh. Or
It's my luck. I was probably lucky.
it's going to sound like an asshole thing. I think in that situation, it's the sister who's the asshole. Like, what would... Just think about it. Why would you fuck your sister's ex-boyfriend?
She was a freak.
Like, that's
She was a freak.
that's disloyal.
I told you, baby, I wouldn't lie.
You
Okay,
ain't
hurry
never
up,
told me
hurry up.
nothing.
Answer the other half so you could get to getting screamed at after we shop the mics.
You ain't never told me nothing.
Let's see. I feel like the best is weird.
What is it?
I try to be the best. This is such a weird answer. Role model for my little sister, and kind of take the place and help her financially the way Dad would have if he were here. And now that I've gotten my company at a better spot, that I can do that. I feel really great being able to do that for him. I feel like
And that's a really honorable answer too. Very honorable.
but it makes me really happy. I mean, it drives her crazy when I try to take care of stuff for her. But
How old is she?
she's 23.
Okay.
Why are you looking at me? She's your sister.
Yeah, she's 23. She's a brilliant girl. I mean, she's a marine biologist.
Oh, wow.
The Tybee fucking place.
Sweetest fucking person you've done.
Yeah, smart as hell. And so, I mean, she just got out of college, so I like to be able to kind of try to set a good example and help her out when I can.
See, that's a really great answer, though. I mean, it's a selfless answer.
I feel like an asshole for mentioning that, but
No, it's not an asshole. This is about you.
That's what
This
makes
is about
me.
you.
That's what makes me feel the best at the end of the day. Is that?
Well, it's a selfless thing you're doing. You doing it for someone you love, or your sister.
Oh,
maybe
sounds like our buddies are getting to work.
Okay. Well, we're gonna end it like that, guys, because we need to eat. I'm gonna smoke something a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Because that stuff. What's the name of it? That you?
What you want?
Which one? This one?
Yeah, that one.
Dreamberry.
That was pretty good because
I've got a bunch more. I got a quarter.
It made me feel relaxed, but and they make me feel incoherent for me asking these questions. Maybe I mumbled a little bit, guys, but
I got a bunch more.
yeah, that was actually pretty good for actually relaxing and just still be able to think.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna end it here, and well, thanks again for Christopher and his lovely life.
Well, thank you for coming out and being my bro.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyway, thank you guys, and here's the outro.
All right, guys. Thank you guys again for listening. Thank you, Chris, for letting me stay at his house, opening up to me, smoking his weed, and for his wife for cooking dinner. I really appreciate that. She's a good cook. But like I said, guys, in the beginning, keep an open mind. And next time you see a cop in the news for something bad that happened, put yourself in their shoes and maybe wait till you get all the facts to figure out what really happened. And only I can say is most TV shows where you watch about police get it wrong. The only TV show I would strongly suggest people who watch, because they got it right. They got the politics, the corruption, the police work, the procedures, the criminals. They got it right. The name of that TV show is The Wire, and it's an HBO show. And it's a beautiful, well-written show. I think it is the best show ever written. But Westworld might be taking that mantle in my mind. But The Wire is probably still the best TV show ever written. So I suggest everyone take like a weekend or two to actually sit down and watch the TV show, because it is amazing. It is an honest look at police work. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. And come back again. So have an episode up in the next couple of weeks. All right. Have a good day.
Most of the letters I've ever written have been to myself. My favorites were addressed to a man I knew for 8 months. So we've been friends for nearly 10. And anything other than the merging of our souls feels like my life is filled with strings.